All right. So since we in it now, so when you talk about time, and you talk about what he saw, what he experienced, if he's in the eternal realm, you can't rewind time to show him something that happened in the past. There is no past. You understand what I'm saying? Because
Right.
it's eternal.
I
Because
mean,
time, future, and present is a construct based on time, right? Future,
mm,
past, and present is a construct based on time. Well, if you're in an eternal realm where there is no time, then how do you go to the past? And you know what I'm saying? Where there's no time, you can't go
right.
to the past
I mean,
and
but this is the thing though, like,
go ahead.
no. I get exactly what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, for example, we know how like angelic beings they go out of the physical and spiritual realm, like, because like with fallen angels, sometimes they manifest themselves, or angels in general, they manifest themselves into physical beings to communicate with certain individuals that might be living in a certain time and space. Like, for example, when Abraham was living and, the angels came and spoke with him and things of that nature and, spent time with him and then told him what was going to happen and things of that nature the next, you know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
when he like kind of described, okay, I saw this. I mean, it's weird because, like you're saying, you can't really quantify what time is in a spiritual sense because, like, they don't have a ending or anything like that. Everything that is gonna happen there has already happened, and for us, we're like living it out. Basically, it's
Right,
all
right.
we're like at a point in this timeline. My only thing was like when he say Lucifer seen him, is that like a present thing? Because like Lucifer
What?
is an omnipresent,
No,
and
he
we
he
know that like
he was there. Like so he was saying that, and when they had the council of the Elohim, that
yeah.
he was there. Like he was brought into that moment, and so he was there. So everybody who
Uh-huh.
was there saw him, not just Lucifer. And here's another
Right.
thing too, because
Right.
it's a long interview, right? So, because the whole thing is like 2 hours long, but they talk about the
Yeah.
fact that the fallen one, who is his name is not Lucifer. That's a Latin term. You only see it
Mm-hmm.
one time in the Bible. That's not a
Mm-hmm.
Hebrew term. That's a Latin term, and there's a whole
Correct.
history on the guy who translated that and put that in there. Um, but
Right.
he's not. That wasn't his name. They use that name. They discuss it. They use the name for the sake of understanding in the conversation, right? So when we saying Lucifer, I don't
Mm-hmm.
really like using that term because Most High revealed to me a while back that wasn't a Hebrew term. That wasn't his name because I felt this is my opinion, my perspective. I just feel like by using the term Lucifer or the name Lucifer, um, it's kind of referring to Satan or the fallen one in a glorified state because Lucifer is the morning star,
Right.
bright shining star, the what is it, light bearer. Lucifer means the light bearer or illuminated one. He is no longer
Right.
that. He was that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I don't I prefer not to refer to him as that. And I don't know, that Latin term.
Of course.
I don't even like dealing with Latin in the Bible. It's just weird whole thing. But anyway, for the sake of conversation, we're using the term. And so that's kind of they kind of discussed that to a degree about that name. And also, I don't think it's a name either. It's more like a title, light bearer,
Right.
an illuminated
Yeah,
one.
yeah, for
It's
sure. It's
not,
like a position. You
yeah,
can lose that position.
right.
You know what I'm
So,
saying? And that was what he did. He lost that
yeah,
position in
yes,
heaven.
exactly. So to me, that also brought some clarity to the idea of the morning star because in I was Isaiah, Isaiah 14, where's the but let me pull it up. But there it refers to Satan as Lucifer, morning star. But then in Revelation it says Christ is the bright morning star. So that position,
Christ is morning star. Yeah.
right? So some people have argued that was the NIV or these different translations are trying to refer to Lucifer as Jesus or vice versa or something like that. I don't now I'm kind of rethinking it. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think uh,
Yeah.
maybe there was a transfer. Yeah, Isaiah 14, right? How art thou fallen from
Yeah.
heaven, O Lucifer, the son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Now, I got a whole different perspective on Isaiah 14. I
They
think
say son of the morning there.
yeah, yeah, but when you
Yeah. I think
yeah,
some people,
well, let me
conflicted too, but because
yeah.
I have seen people say, well, yeah, look at Revelation. This is so Lucifer is Jesus. I'm like, no. Morning
Oh,
star. is
Uh-oh. Mosquito, excuse me. Sorry about that,
yeah.
y'all. Let
No,
me
you
get
good.
in the now all of a sudden mosquito want to harass me. The whole time we weren't recording, I had no mosquito. Now all of a sudden, right? So Lucifer is halal. Um, and so that's the
Mm,
Hebrew word that was there was halal, right? Which it means to rise, go up, or but Lucifer itself is the morning star. Lucifer, light. It's a Latin word that means light bearer or illuminated one. The morning
right.
star refers back to the son of the morning. That phrase, son of the morning, was talking about the morning star or the last star that you see before the sun comes up because the sun is so bright you can't see the stars in the
Uh,
daytime. And so the last star that was the
right.
brightest star it could the light shone all the way until it was fully daytime. Um, so that that's what that whole thing is about. But they're referring to Lucifer there. So going back to this council, whatever, Psalms 83, right? Let's go back to that. And I know because I just started recording all of a sudden because we've been on for a minute, trying to figure it out. So now I feel
Yeah.
like I just feel like we was in the groove. Psalms 83, right? It says, "Keep not thou silence, O God; hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have filled up the head." So who's the enemies of God? How what I'm saying? Like when you say that to me, that's even sounds weird. How can God have an enemy? Who can be his equal enough to be his enemy? It says,
Mm,
"For lo thine enemy." Verse 2 says, "For lo thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, let us cut them out from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent; they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and Ishmael. So the tabernacles of Edom, right? The tents, the dwellings of Edom, Ishmael, Moab, the Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, sorry, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also joined with them. They have holden up the children of Lot. So, um, Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as unto Sisera, uh, what we at? Oh, and Jabin at the brook of Kisan. Let's see. Am is this the right one? Double. Let me see. I think it might. Let me see. Is it 82? I go. Not known neither. Okay, yeah. Psalms 82 kind of goes and it kind of sets it up, right? So Psalms 82 is real short. Oh, man, all of a sudden, that's crazy. So it says, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. Yeah, it's Psalms 82. That's the one I wanted to read first. So what is it talking about? He standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. Who are the gods that he's judging
yeah,
among,
that's a good
right? It says, how
question.
long
We would
will
probably
you
say
judge
spiritual
unjustly?
deities. Yep.
Right. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Salah. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Uh, um. Right. Well, I'm gonna read Psalms 82 and 5 again. It says, "They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on it. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, Ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men, and fall like ones of the prince, all right, ones of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations." All right. Then it goes on to talk about this how they'll tumult against the Most High's people. So that's Psalms 82. according to this guy, Micah Turnbow, he was his understanding is that he says that God showed him in the spirit, took him in the spirit, and allowed him to see this council of the Elohim. So the Elohim was a council of angels that God had created, and he said, God likes these council. He loves to I don't know, build or relationship with his creation. And he had this council, and so and when the tongues were divided in Genesis, the Tower of Babel, each nation had a god put over them, had a Elohim that was put over them, and they were supposed to guide their nation back to the Heavenly Father. And they somewhere along the line they fell off. They started to covet this worship, and they started to guide their people to worship them instead of worshiping the Most High. And so they became the gods that these people worship. To me, and it kind of makes a lot of sense. I don't know if this, I still, I'm still not 100% on it, but it makes a lot of sense in the sense that, why would these people worship other things, something else? Because they had to have some kind of evidence that there was power in these other beings and whatever in these gods that they were worshiping. Right? These gods that they were worshiping, they
Um,
just make them up out of thin air. So
I'm about to give you a verse. Something just came to mind.
yeah. So also
Um,
I think in the book of oh man, and I'm just thinking about this too. This the scriptures that talk
Sirach
about.
17 and 17.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Sirach.
Oh, you want to pull it up?
Now it just says for in the division. No,
Okay.
I was about to send it to you.
Okay.
I was
Now
gonna
go ahead and
drop
read
it
it.
in the
Go ahead and read it. Because
it
I'll
say
post
for
it.
it say for in the division of the nations of the whole earth he set a ruler over every people, but
Mhm.
Israel is the Lord's portion.
Right. So
From whom, yeah, that was Sirach 17:17.
yeah,
So when you said that, that kind of brought that to mind.
right.
And
That's
you can look
exactly.
at that in a physical sense
I don't
or
think so
like a
because
spiritual sense.
just like Israel was his portion, he
Right.
gave each nation one of his Elohim a portion. So
A
the
spiritual,
nations that
yeah.
worship Baal, the nations that worship Ashtoreth, um, Molech, all these were according to him. Now I'm not saying it's 100% true. I'm just saying it makes sense. These were
Right.
Elohim. These were God. These were authorities that the Most High put over each one. Because what did it say? He said,
Hmm.
read it again. What you had just read.
For in the division, for in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people, but Israel is the Lord's portion.
So when you look up the word God, God it means authority, ruler. Um, it's a title of authority. So when it says
Hmm.
he put a ruler over each nation, he put a God over each nation. The word, and once again, God is not a name; it's a title. So a lot of people get thrown off by that. What you mean, God? Like, there is one God. There is the God, the all powerful, the almighty authority, ruler. But then He set up other gods, small g gods, right? Authorities, rulers. So when you hear the name God, you think the Most High, but that's not His name. That's His title. And
Right.
just like there's a boss. A boss is a name. It's title, not a name. So you can have a boss. You can have the main boss, and then there's assistant managers, which is your boss. My
Like
immediate boss,
managers and
right.
yep.
So there's it's that situation. So it makes a lot of sense to me. The other one talks about, I think it's in Daniel, I think, but the one that talks
Yeah.
about the
But they
verses
were
that
talking
talk
about the
about
prayer.
no, the verses that talk about how they went too far. They were supposed to rule over Israel because of our disobedience. And he sent the angels to record everything that they did. And a lot of each
Oh,
nation went too far with the punishment on Israel. And so he was like, so everything they did over, like it's all been recorded and it's all going to be added to them in the end. And so I used to think that was just talking
yeah.
about like the kings, um, that was ruling over the nation that conquered Israel at the time. But now I'm kind of I want to go back and re-examine that and look at
Right.
it from this perspective and see if it was talking about the principalities at the time. It's
Yeah.
just like
That would be
I think
interesting.
what you were saying before when I mentioned Daniel about when Daniel prayed and his prayer got hindered by the prince of Persia. It was another prince too, but that was talking about a principality.
Yeah.
So the principality, this,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? This was an authority over Persia, and it was, I forget the other principality that came, but Michael had to come and fight against them in order for, I believe it was Gabriel, I think, the angel, but to come and answer, bring the answer to Daniel's prayer. And the angel told him, yeah, when you prayed,
Right.
God sent me right then, but I got held up 21 days. For 3 weeks, he
Right. Three
caught up,
weeks.
and I believe this guy Micah, I I want to say he talked about that too. But anyway, yeah, he basically if I remember correctly, he was saying that that angel got basically like kind of entrapped, like he was put in a cage or something. Then Michael had to come and
Mm,
free him and fight the other angel so he can go and deliver the message or something. But it was anyway, it's a lot of spiritual things that's going on that I think really need to be examined and considered with everything that's going on because it's a lot
hmm
that's happening today, right? All this stuff going on 2025 and and Christ said it was going to be like this, right? It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be
Yeah.
rumors of wars, this happening, that happening, and all this stuff going on. And people, I feel like it's so much distraction, man, that I have a tendency to just not, pay attention to any of it.
Right.
California burning up. I don't watch it, because I feel like it's a
Right.
distraction. Yeah, it's happening, and it's good to be informed, and somebody gonna pay attention to it, be informed, and let me know. But I'm, 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 I'm trying to look at what's going on in the background, what's happening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
what's
think
happening
it's
here?
when I look at this stuff, man, I honestly think, and this is the thing, and I don't know how I do know there are like agendas for certain things that happen, like with the Cali fire. The facts of the matter was just that um insurance companies pulled out months in advance. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I seen something
Um,
about that. No,
you
speaking of insurance, homie, because I hold your thought. Keep that.
yeah,
Um,
uh-huh.
was it the insurance companies? I think that might have been it, man. That might have been
The
it.
firefighter
Yeah, I
budget
think
got
that
cut
was
too.
it. Yeah, the
So
insurance companies, all them insurance companies pulled out. It was something else like that.
yeah.
Man, that might have been it. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But then there's this 2028 plan for a smart city in that area as well. And
Mm.
Olympics is going to be in 2028. So, that could have had a lot to do with it. That's going to materialize over the next year. But what I was going to bring up is just the fact that there are a lot of things going on in the world right now. And because there are so many other people doing things, we can't really differentiate between the things that the Most High might be doing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because there are things in this world that he's doing right now that are going to lead to the end result that was already written before or what he intends. So some of these things, we might be looking at them like, yeah, it's this, it's that. But then it could actually be him. Like I tell people every year with hurricanes, and I do know we have people that have weather modification and things like that. But there are a lot of things that take place that God does himself that gets written off every day. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
There are things
Yeah.
that he's doing every single day that gets written off. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when we talk about like the things that are going on in this world and wars and everything else, we actually have to sit back and realize that some things are going on, they're not being publicized
Yeah.
because there's no explanation for it. Like I watched this video the other day, it was yesterday actually, where there's like magnesium or something falling from the sky in Ukraine. Then I
Mm.
saw this thing where there were fish coming out of the clouds in like Iran or something. I'm like, fish coming out of the clouds, like out of the sky, like literally raining
Yeah.
fish.
That's not
I'm
the
like, how
first
do
time
you
it happened though.
describe that? Right. Like
Yeah.
you can't, somebody tried to say, oh, there was a storm over the water and it picked up the fish. I'm like,
Yeah. That's the explanation. Yeah, they did that
do
with
you know how
frogs.
deep, right? Do you know how deep fish are swimming underwater? You know what kind of storm will have to, the storm would literally have to rise out of almost out of the depths of whatever sea that it is and pull
Yeah.
the fish out
But
and
that's
bring them
goes
on the
back to
land
what you were
and rain
saying.
them
Yeah.
down.
Things like this happening that I
So,
think in times past would have been automatically attributed to the Most High, and now they always trying to get some kind of scientific
right,
explanation to simplify. Oh no, that's not. It's
there's a
nothing.
scientific
Yeah, that's nothing
explanation.
biblical about this. Nothing
Right,
supernatural about this. It's just the wind was going really fast that day and snatched up. I mean, with the frogs, it
right,
rained frogs several times over the last 30, 40, 50 years, right? And they said, well,
right.
oh, they were tadpoles. The tadpoles got picked up and then they matured into frogs in the weather. and then I'm saying,
in the air.
yeah,
Went through the whole four stages of their
then they
life
fell down
cycle.
when they got like too heavy or something. It was something crazy. Like, I mean, there's always some kind of, scientific explanation to explain away these supernatural events.
And, and you know what's crazy, man? Because there are so many people in the world that don't believe, people like when I see these videos they get posted online, the first things some people say is, can somebody explain this? They're looking for somebody to give them
Right.
an answer that makes sense other than, and I literally saw this. This might sound crazy. I'm telling you, I saw this on in the comment section. It was a video like the fish one. It might have been the fish one specifically. And
Mm.
somebody was like, can somebody explain this to me? And please don't bring up God.
Mm. Yeah, they don't.
So I'm like,
That's the one explanation they
so
came.
some people, right, they can't wrap their mind around. Like, so you'd rather take an explanation from me as a human that sounds intelligent, who
Yeah.
has limited perspective, because number one, I'm not in the sky. I can't see what's going on in the sky. I can't look down from above. And I
Right.
can't tell you what's coming out of the sea because I don't dwell in the sea. I couldn't last an hour in the sea, swimming in the sea. You want me to tell you about something that lives in the sea coming from up above. You know what I'm saying? So like human beings today, I just think that we've lost that sense of connection, and we write off things with the scientific explanation. And one of the things that stood out in the video, when we were watching it, is you really, really have to take in the fact that there really is nothing new in this world that doesn't exist in the spiritual realm. Like the main thing I was listening to was the emotional side, like people going through heartbreak and experiencing death and mourning and stuff like that. And then the way he was describing it, like when we read these events in the Bible and Revelation, it's like, okay, yeah, the angels fell and this, but we don't look at the emotional, like the damage, like the physical damage. We
Mm-hmm.
don't look at the emotional side of the creatures involved. Because you got to think about it, man. Like it takes a lot of envy and indignation for a principality or a being, a spiritual being, to be doing the things that are transpiring in this world today. Like the stuff that's happening, like the people he's using to do the things that they're doing. Like, do you understand how much indignation and hate you have to have, like,
Mm.
to cause mass hysteria, mass death, wars, give people stuff, give creatures that weren't meant to have weapons of war, knowing what the result is going to be, using fear
Yes,
and and
that's a
and
great degree of
greed and
hatred.
right.
Indignation. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's beyond comprehend. I think it's beyond human comprehension, honestly. You know what I'm saying? And that's the scary thing for me. So when he accounted those events, that really stood out to me, and it just helped me to understand like jealousy and all that other stuff. And
It
well,
makes it very
why
believable.
does God want this? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it makes it very believable, and it also helps you to understand, man, like and this world, like he meant, they were talking about how divorce and separation of friends and separation of relationships and separation of family and how all of that stuff, it basically, when an angel sees that stuff, it basically brings back the same emotions and stuff that,
Yeah.
they experienced when they were in the heavenly realm. So that's why there's a serious indignation for that. But then you got to also understand that while there's an angel there, like when you read other texts, it talks about how there are spiritual beings there that are there specifically to break up families, cause
Yeah.
divorces, stuff like
It
that.
is
You know what
is
I'm saying? So it's a
testimony is
two-sided thing, man.
his testimony is very interesting because he said some stuff that I just I cannot get with, and it's hard to dismiss it because
Right,
the way he explained it. But I'm just like, nah, it can't be, So
right.
it's like, but so
Uh-huh.
the Most High revealed it to him, not me. If that's the case, so I'm not gonna argue
Right,
with it, but that's just not my revelation, my understanding. But
right,
one of the things he talked about when he was allowed to see, dealing with people's, everybody has an angel, right? We all know everybody has an angel with them that's
right.
assigned to you, right? That's there
Mm-hmm.
with you, and well, maybe some people don't know this, and I've heard different things like the armor of God, Ephesians 12. That armor is for your angel,
Mm-hmm.
Your angel wears the armor, and when you operate a certain way, depending on how you operate, depending on the type of armor they have and how well they're able to fight for you in the spiritual realm. And if your feet are not shod with the preparation of the gospel, your angel doesn't have gospel. I mean, doesn't have shoes, to protect his feet. And when they're in a spiritual battle, those demons will find any weakness in your angel to attack them and capture your demon. I mean,
Mm,
capture your angel, and now you have no protection. Then you're subject to, whatever demonic attacks they put you under, or whatever. Um,
mm.
these are things I've heard of people
Yeah,
who have operated in the
that's
spiritual realm on the
interesting.
other side.
Oh,
Yeah, very interesting. So, he talks about he was able to see, how these angels, when a person dies, so they're assigned to a person. That person dies, and they're given a new person to be assigned to from birth, right? Um, and,
mm,
and they're with this person their whole life. And so he talked about this one. He was able to see like see one that angel that was with a person that died and I think went on to be in the bosom of Abraham, opposed to a person who died in in a dark place. Like I think he said this one girl had a she was addicted to drugs or something. And so this angel's with her the whole step of the way. And he's trying to urge her, he's trying to help her, he's fighting in the spiritual realm, but he's losing because, she has free will and she's not in,
right. She's
under the
choosing.
hedge of the most high, whatever. But he says like at this one point she was in this alley and I think she got attacked, got taken advantage of, and then or she OD'd. I forget the case, but whatever the case was, it was the darkness was closing in on her to come and take her soul. And he said the way that this angel fought, he had a sword and he was fighting. I mean, he fought. He's like with the tenacity that this angel fought. He fought until the very last second. Like he couldn't fight no more. To her life was gone. But up until the very last
Hmm.
heartbeat, to the last breath, he was fighting and fighting and fighting, trying to keep her alive, trying to, in the spiritual realm so that she could live. Like they take their assignment very seriously and they fight for you. And we're so
Mm,
oblivious to what's happening in the spiritual realm that we're not helping our angel, we're not helping ourselves, we're not even aware, we're not even, what I'm saying, you're in this fight and you don't even know it.
right.
And people, I've often said this, and this is more so confirmation, but when you stand before the Most High and all the things that people have gone through in their life, and they're upset with God, they blame God, or they just feel like it wasn't fair. God, why me? Why did I go through this? Why did I go through that? And then and the Most High is going to reveal everything that He did in your life, how much you were protected, how much you were carried, were, how many times you have been saved from different situations that you had no idea the enemy was trying to kill you, trying to
Hmm.
destroy you. And then
Right.
it's like, oh God, I didn't know. And you spend all this time being angry with God, being upset, you know, and God was with you the whole time. He was fighting for you in ways that you
Right.
would never even imagine, you know. Um, and I'm just really, I've been really been immersing myself in a lot of studies dealing with the spiritual realm and understanding like even
Right.
in the parable of the sword and the seed, where it says that because of offenses, because of tribulations, many are offended by and by, and they walk away. And I'm
Hmm.
listening to this testimony now, and it's and it's been explained that when these are people who are in Christ. This is not just Joe Blow. These are people who have accepted Christ, who are walking with Christ, who are walking in Christ, who are really have a relationship with the Most High God, and have favor. But then there's seasons in your life where you're going to go through tribulation,
Right.
where Satan is going to go before the courts of the heavenly realm and bear witness against you. It says, that's why the scripture refer to Satan as the accuser of thy brother, right?
Hmm.
He's the accuser. So
Yep.
there's, and so I watched this lady break it down. She was saying how, the demons are really legalistic, right? They're really legalistic. They try to use the law to really, justify your destruction. Kind of like when Satan came before the Most High
Right.
against Job, right? And so, there's
Hmm.
times where the Most High is going to allow you to go through tribulation, right? For different purposes. And a lot of people who is with the Most High, who have a relationship with the Most High, they don't understand. They can't accept the fact that they've been allowed to go through these tribulations. And when I'm talking tribulation, I'm talking about,
Right.
for example, a righteous pastor who's accused of uh, SA, or you know what I'm saying, some kind of misconduct
Hmm.
that way, and it can
Yeah.
be outright lie. Because a lie like that don't have to be true. Just the accusation alone will ruin your whole image, your whole,
But yeah, ruin your reputation,
yeah, your whole
everything.
reputation, right? Assassinate your character. And so if you just imagine you've been preaching the gospel, you've been having a relationship with the Most High, you've healed people, you've cast out demons, you've done these things. God has shown you favor in situations time after time, and you with Him, and then all of a sudden this is happening. And you're praying and asking the Most High to, what's going on? Why is this happening? Take this away. And He's not. He's not responding. And you're going through this and you can't understand why. And then people get offended and they walk away from the Most High. They walk away from Christ because this is not fair. God, I've been serving you and then you're allowing this to happen. And this is where it gets thick, right? This is where you have to say, okay, I don't understand this, Lord. I don't understand why this is happening, but I'm with you. I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna hold on to you, right?
Right.
And then in some testimonies I've heard, this happens occasionally with some people, and they go through this, but at this point, this happened like two or three times. They're to the point now they understand. Okay, I'm going through a tribulation right now, and so I gotta ride
Right.
it out. I just gotta ride it out. And then at the
Right.
end, the Most High gonna work everything. It was for a purpose. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it might have been some people that
Hmm.
come against you in the demonic realm and they working with demons and all these things to come against you. And they do all these things. And
Hmm.
it's very detrimental to your career, to your position in life, in the church, or you know what I'm saying, in a structure. And just praying, fasting, hearing from the Holy Spirit, listening, being obedient, going when God say go, stop when God say stop. And then when it's all said and done, all the things that they did blew up in their face. They were digging their own traps. They were, you know what I'm saying? They were digging themselves in a hole. And the Most High was really giving them an opportunity to repent from what they did, what they were trying to do, and stop before it was too late. They
Hmm.
thinking oh, God getting nervous because I'm about to take one of his people out. And really, God is really, trying to stop you from destroying yourself, because what you're doing is gonna blow up in your face. And
Right.
and so if we're able to not allow the spirit of offense to take root in us, and we're able to stay in the spirit of love, the spirit of power, the spirit of self-control, which is sound mind, and endure through that, then things go the way it's supposed to go. But a lot of people think that God does not test you, and that's not accurate. The Bible says God will not tempt you. He's
Tempt
not
you.
a man
Yeah,
that he
there's a
should be
difference.
tempted, and he will not tempt you with sin. But test is something else. Job was tested. Abraham was tested,
Yep.
right? Um, so these are things
Yep.
that I've been learning, man, and just pondering, and because I've been going through a little something, what I'm saying. I feel like what I'm going through is kind of light, but it was still something that I kind of had to pray about and pause on for a minute. Then I feel like I shook back pretty quick.
Hmm.
I hope I hope I did. As far as God's perspective, but I just say, okay, it is what it is. My livelihood was in jeopardy. But then I thought about it. You know what I'm saying? I almost like,
Right.
I feel like a spirit of depression tried to come over me. You know what I'm saying? I said, you know what?
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm not even supposed to be in the position I'm in. I don't have the credentials, quote
Right.
unquote, to be in this position. So I thought about, say, you know what? God gave me this job. So they can't take this job from me because God gave it to me. So if God take it from me, then God took it from me. Like, I ain't gonna argue with that. I ain't gonna fight against that. I'm gonna accept that and roll with that. That means He got something else going for me, or I need to, it's something I did or whatever the case is. But I'm gonna accept the will of the Most High, no matter what it is. Yeah, however I feel about it.
Right.
Because if he gave me this job, he'll give me another one. If he's taking this job, maybe he's taking it for
Right.
a reason, because he's moving in a different direction. So whatever the case was. And I remember when I went to go sit down with these people about my job, you know what I'm saying? First thing he asked, well, how you feel about it? It's been a few weeks, you've been sitting, stuck with this on your mind, and you've been just pondering kind of in limbo. where you at? Well, how you are you okay? I said, man, I prayed about it. I said, yeah, I prayed about it, and I just left it at that. And then he was trying to kind of waiting on me to finish the sentence. I prayed about it. That's it. I ain't say nothing else. He said, okay, well, all right, yeah, you know. That's it. I prayed about it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm saying? I prayed, I talked to the Most High. Um, and His will be done. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and so I'm just learning, man, that there's levels to this. And with everything that's going on in the world today, there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of stuff happening, man. And the devils are in overtime. They working and they're organized and they're structured and they're very methodical in what they're doing and trying to watch everything that's happening. I think is too much. You know what I'm saying? Rather than focusing on
Right.
what we know. The Revelations, the book of Revelations is very clear about what's going to happen, how things are going to happen. We don't have the details, and I think it takes divine revelation from Holy Spirit to kind of grasp some of these things. But I recently came across some information that kind of took me all the way back to where we started with the whole mark of the beast thing and looking at
Hmm.
the World Economic Forum. Some of y'all may have never heard of this. The WEF, World Economic Forum. We talked about this a lot. Maybe last year, year before last. Um,
Yeah.
and I came across this video, and this guy was going into a lot of stuff, and I'm like, man, and it go all the way back to the RFID chip. And what the and the they've upgraded this technology, but that's still the basis. And it was a lot of stuff, man, that he mentioned that he went into that I think we probably could do another video, another reaction to this one. But it's really got
Mm.
me wanting to focus on that, the mark of the beast. While we distracted with all this stuff going on, they're getting ready to, they're putting everything in place. I didn't know, or maybe I did and forgot, but in 2022, Joe Biden signed into law the this digital currency, or what they call the digital currency, digital dollar, something like that. He signed that into law in 2022. You know, we talked about,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, this happened. Um, we talked about um, the euro or the Miro. You remember the Miro? Remember us talking about this years ago?
Yeah.
The Miro.
Uh-huh.
I think George
I
Bush
got this
Jr.
video. I'm gonna pull up, try to get.
Yeah, George Bush Jr.
Uh-huh.
Signed into law the Amero during his time. I forget what year that was, 2002 or something, 2000, see, 2002 to 2004 was that's Barack, right? 04, 02 to 08 or oh 08 to 12,
2000. But Obama came in
oh
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 06 or
04,
oh 08. Oh 08, oh 08. Yeah, because he
yeah, oh
came
08.
left in 16. That was when
Okay, yeah.
Trump
So that was
became
his whole, yeah.
president.
So
And
before
then
him was
Trump left in
Bush, right?
2020.
So Bush was
Yeah.
02 to oh 08, right?
Yep.
Something like that. Um, and so
Yep.
yeah, he during that time
Yep.
he signed that the Amero, which is uh, a coin, a currency that would represent Canada, United States, and Mexico as one union, one
In
one thing,
Mexico. Yep.
right? And so now under the World Economic Forum, they're they have a map where they've broken the world into 10 unions. So you have the North American Union, which is the whole continent of North America, right? Canada, America, Mexico is one union. Then you have, I think, out the other unions, but it's broken into 10 parts. And so he was liking this to the 10 horns written up in Revelation. It's an interesting
Mm.
breakdown. I haven't studied, but I'm just kind of like I'm gonna go back and revisit all the stuff because a lot of things that we talked about, we bring it out and then it kind of happens to a small degree and then it kind of just stops and disappears and get overshadowed by a million other things that's going on and we forget about it. And now it's like all this stuff is coming back full circle. The lockstep program that we talked about that happened or that came to the forefront years ago.
Right.
All these things were real things that was really happening. And now it's starting to come, it's starting to all come together. These are all pieces to the puzzle of the mark of the beast. And now I think
Right.
it's all starting to kind of come back together. And you're getting all these theories about the mark of the beast. Because now that I don't know if you heard a lot of people start talking about the colors of the horse, the full color,
Yeah.
the
So
black,
you're talking about
green,
like
red, and
the
white.
ones in Revelation.
Yeah, they saying
Yeah.
black, green, red, and white. And so there's certain countries that have that flag, that color of the flag, and they represent a certain thing. And then
Hmm.
the guy was trying to break down the the symbol that they use. It was kind of a stretch, kind of a reach, but how does that tie
Right.
into the monetary system? How is that going to control? But it's interesting, man. Then that's the thing about the Antichrist.
Where's this video, man?
And people talk about the Antichrist
Yeah.
and say, oh, it's not gonna be no Antichrist. The Antichrist is a system, or not the Antichrist, but the what is it? The mark of the beast is a system or something like that. But then I think just like there's one Christ, right? There are many Christ, but then there's one the Christ. There are many, I believe, antichrist. I mean, the scriptures tell us there's many antichrists, and they do work now. But I think there's going to be one the antichrist as well, and that will be empowered by the beast. Now, the beast, and I know I'm just kind of going, but I'm just going and flowing, right? The beast, man. So you remember the supercomputer they got in was it Switzerland or where's the beast at? That computer they built years ago.
One of them European countries.
They call it the beast, right? It's
I think
supposed
it's either Switzerland or Sweden, one of them.
Yeah, right. And this is a computer called the Beast, and it has this great computing power. It can do all this stuff. And so, if the mark of the beast is a chip or something like the electronic, then this supercomputer um would be able to process it and keep up with all the information. Well, I saw this guy was talking about Elon Musk has this computer called Colossus, I think, and it's in Memphis,
Hmm.
Tennessee. And Colossus was supposed to be I think the Greek name for the sun god or something like that. It was a bunch of little things, man. So it's so much stuff that's going on that I'm looking into that I'm going down these different rabbit holes. That's interesting, man. So I'm sharing this with everybody here. So, y'all get some information, y'all can connect some dots, put it in the comments. Help, let's keep being informed and share information and work together. But it's just a lot going on spiritually. You know, I watched one guy
Yeah, man.
break down that Elon Musk, people are championing Elon Musk, but Elon Musk is, working right alongside the World Economic Forum. He's not, what I'm saying?
Of
He
course,
he
because
comes
he's bringing
across,
in a whole
yeah, he's
movement of clean energy and electronic and things of that nature.
right.
Smart, that's that when you talk about smart cities, electric cars, stuff like that, all of that stuff is a part of one big agenda.
Mhm.
Surveillance,
It's
monitoring,
all going to be on one
analysis,
system.
recording, and then tracking, stuff like that. Yep.
hmm And now they're taking terms and they're
And
redefining terms or coming up with different names. So when people get caught up, catch up with
right.
different terms, like we talked about the UBI, the Universal Basic Income, and how that's going to be,
Hmm.
how the World Economic Forum puts it, you will own nothing and be happy. So every month you're going to get a certain amount of money from the government. But there's a certain amount of control that they're going to have over your life. So now they're no longer
Right.
using the term UBI. They're using another term now, UAI or something. But it's the things like that. And this is how I think people get
They've tested it
blinded.
already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And people get blinded and people get sidetracked and say, "Oh, that was nothing." They said this and that was gonna happen, and ain't no such thing as UBI no more. They ain't talk. They just, I mean, you change the name of it, wrote it, and explain it a little different, and it's still happening. Right. So
Where is this video, man? I found this. It was this interesting video. It goes right along with what you're saying. It was a
about
podcast. These two gentlemen, they would talk about they were saying right now, like all the wars and stuff we
Might have
see,
pressed
he was
again.
like, these are
We have an
economic
Antichrist when we
wars.
were
And
created.
essentially what he was saying
Allow it
was some of
change
these
our minds
countries don't have
and And repentance is changing it back.
They
Basically,
don't have a World Bank, or they don't have this, that, and the
process,
third. And
but the repent is
the
to
people
change
that
our
are running the
process,
world are trying to get these last few
the damage from
countries
the tree of
to
knowledge.
bend the
You
knee
align
so
your
they can
definition
bring in
of
a
the
full
evil of the
system.
tree with what God
Mm.
So
says.
right now we're just a few steps away, like you're saying,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
but
yeah, man.
we're
It's
just a
a
few
lot
steps
going on.
away.
It's a lot going on, dude. It's a lot going on spiritually that we need to be aware of. And I'm like, I'm sitting over here, bro. I've been over here struggling. I don't even want to exaggerate it. I say struggling, but
Yeah,
I just been over here contemplating, man, trying to figure out how to get in a place where I can, I guess, engage in spiritual warfare, but from a perspective of being informed, like being able to see in the spiritual realm, hear and experience in the spiritual realm, right?
right.
And I just been going back and forth, like, man, why I'm not getting there, why I can't do this, and then I don't know, I don't know, but what came to mind was, why? Why do you want to see in the
Hmm.
spiritual realm? And I honestly believe that for me, it's about humility. And I don't know if it's good
Right,
for me. I don't know if it's right for me to see in the spiritual realm and experience things in the spiritual realm and be able to have a testimony and be able to have a certain knowledge because for what? Why? So that I can get on this screen and tell people what I've seen and what I know, what I've experienced.
right.
Like, what I'm saying, will I be puffed up with knowledge? Will I, is it really about me? Is it about the Most High? Because what I think I know is when you're asking for things like that, you probably don't really need it. Because if you understood what came with it, you wouldn't be asking for that. Because most people
Yeah, you wouldn't want it.
yeah, most people I've seen that have these gifts, they kind of, they didn't want that. They sometimes they wish they didn't have it.
They got
And
chose,
here I am. I'm like, man, I want to see.
like
I want to
Moses.
perceive. I want to understand. And yeah, I do. But then it's like, do I really want? Because it's a responsibility to come with that. And once you see something, you can't unsee it. Once you know it, you can't unknow it.
That's true.
And then
And,
what do you
and
do
the
with it?
thing is, if you did have that ability and you could see things, you wouldn't I know they say insanity, they say some people are insane and stuff like that, but some people would literally go insane. Some people can't handle knowing what is going on around them. So the best
Ooh.
thing for them to, what state to be in is not to know. Because what if you like you remember that scripture where I forgot if it was Elisha or Elijah, and they were with the man, and then
Oh yeah.
the troops were coming approaching
It was
him,
it was
and he
it
was
was
like,
Elijah's
man,
or Elisha's like his scribe, I think. And they yeah.
right, and he was
Man.
like, man, the many are the people that's with us, and then he asked the Most High to open their eyes, and
And they saw
he
all the
allowed him
names.
to see the people, the troops to see what they was up against in a spiritual sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it made basically stopped them in their tracks, and that was a whole army. So imagine you open your eyes being open and you looking in a room, and let's say you are one of those people that the spirits are trying to get their hands on, and you see what's in your room. You know what I'm saying? Your
Mm-hmm.
physical space. Because I something that I realized lately, like just examining the world, this physical plane is not really a physical plane. Like, yeah, it's a physical plane in the sense of we can feel and touch things. But if your spirit were to exit your body, this physical plane that you're in right now becomes a spiritual plane as well. You would still be here,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
would be in the spiritual. You know what I'm saying?
When they
So
talk
this
about
air that you're
parallel
looking at is
universes.
also, you know what I'm saying? It's a spiritual and physical realm.
Right.
There's a lot of things floating through this air that you can't see, like Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things that you can't see, wind.
Go right through the walls.
You know what I'm saying? Cold, heat. Those are not physical things. You can't touch them or see them, but they're here. We can feel them.
Mm-hmm.
So feelings are actually spiritual things. We can't describe feelings. We don't even know where they come from. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can open up a human's body and say, okay, well, this is what a feeling is. They can show you nerves.
Right.
They can speculate that it's your nervous system that's sending the signals, but you can't see the signals being, you can't
Consciousness.
touch them. You can't
Can't
know,
explain
right.
consciousness. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there are certain things that people have to look at and consider. I don't think that's something that a lot of people can handle. I think of all people, the Most High would know who to give those gifts to. You know what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
everybody can't handle that.
It's fun, you know, and those
Everybody
things
cannot handle that.
apparently those things are still happening today. I listened to this testimony earlier. I don't know if it was today, yesterday, but it was these people that was I want to say somewhere in Africa, somewhere where a country where people practice witchcraft real heavy, and they were in a little house,
Right.
and they had started engaging in spiritual warfare, and these people came like I don't know 100 deep or something, 30, 70 deep to come and kill
Mm,
them. They was physically coming to kill them, and they were in the house,
right.
and they had no way out. They were surrounded. That was it. So all they could do was pray. That's all they could do. They couldn't do nothing else but pray. And they prayed, and then and then it eventually got quiet, and they look out, and there's nobody there. The people just left. And so one of the leaders of this mob,
Right.
this that was heavily into this witchcraft, the leader ended up coming to Christ and getting saved. So, and dealing with the same people that he was coming to kill, he was leading this mob to come and kill. So they asked him about that day, like, what happened that day? Like, y'all came surrounded and y'all just left. Like, what happened? And the guy said, well, all those people y'all had surrounding the house, we couldn't get in. So, y'all had too many people with y'all. Y'all had all the people surrounding the house, and we couldn't, we wasn't no way to, we wasn't gonna win that fight, so we just left. And so he was like, "What?" He was like, "What people? We didn't
What
have no
people?
people around now." He was like, and dude was like, "Yeah, we got them, man. It was a whole bunch of the whole house surrounded with all these men with swords, and they had their swords drawn. They was ready to fight, and he's like, we wasn't gonna win it." And so, and that just blew the guy.
Mm,
He tripped out because he had no idea. But you know what else? What else? There was just like what happened with Elisha, right? The angels came. And so, these things are happening. Most High is still uh protecting his people in that way, you know. And I'm like, man, and
yeah, man.
I
That's
just
true.
believe that the Most High is protecting me and and many others like that. And I just be wanting to see it. I be wanting to experience it. But it's like, then what? Then what? What I do with the information? Because I saw this guy say something that really hit home for me, that really applied to me. And he was like, he's talking to apologetics, and
Yeah.
I'm not officially apologetics, but that's kind of like you know what I'm saying? That's what I like. I like getting to that kind of stuff. And and he said, no offense to my apologetics brothers and sisters. He says, but all that knowledge you have, that knowledge is for you. And then when people come to you with questions, concerns, arguments, whatever the case, you can then address those things because you're knowledgeable in those areas. But it's not for you to go and show the world how much stuff you know. And
Mm.
I feel like that hit home
It's
for
a
me.
pride thing for some people.
Yeah, I feel like that really hit home for me because because all this stuff and you're looking for a reason to unload the clip. You're looking for me. I'm looking for, so I'm looking for, and it's not because in my mind I'm not being prideful. I just think everybody should know what I know. All right, everybody should know this. But it's not for everybody. The Most High didn't reveal it to everybody. Everybody didn't have the spirit to go and research and study all these things. So then, if I'm
Right.
trying to gain a brother or sister into the body of Christ, you can't start off with algebra. You know what I'm saying? When somebody's learning how to read, when somebody learn how to do addition, I
Found
said
that video.
algebra and read. I know they're gonna get me. I said algebra and read, but you know what I mean. So you can't start with can't start with algebra and the
Uh,
person's learning addition. You know what I mean? And as much as you might want to tell them about you know uh a squared plus b squared equals c squared or something like that. It's there's no reason for it. There's no space for it when you're dealing with a person on a certain level. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
sending
So
that video
yeah, and
directly to you.
I really had to. I say that really applies to me, man. Like, and so I'm like, I've been praying for a spirit of humility, and then I'm like, man, is that why I don't have these encounters, these spiritual revelations and things like that? Because then what I'm gonna do with it? I can't wait to go tell everybody why.
You know what that brought to mind now that I'm listening to it, man? And this go back to, the conversation in the beginning
Mm.
was, I mean, a spiritual being got given beauty, a covering that was unlike anything else, the ability to make music and sing and worship and pray and all of that stuff, and it turned into pride. This is
Mm.
a spiritual being.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it got filled up with so much pride that it led to a separation that in some ways is responsible for the division that we have today amongst
The
us
devil
in
wants
this
everybody
world.
to believe God's
You
the
know what I'm
leader.
saying?
He's not.
So
The devil. So when the
we talk
enemy
about
tries
gifts
right to get
and
into your
stuff like
life,
that,
generational
bro.
iniquity and sin,
Yeah,
or
a
the
person
occult,
can get puffed up really
trauma,
easy.
doors that have
They're
been
given
opened,
something they
sometimes
don't
open
need.
doors
You know what I'm
unaware.
saying?
Your lack of
Because
resistance.
yeah, they want to show it to the
I think
world for
there's already in the
what
hands of man. I love
purpose?
to say this, that
You know what I'm
we are
saying?
with the
So
same
just,
devil.
consider that. If you're
Jesus
going to get a
after
gift, are you going to use it for the
was all
purpose in which it's intended? Because really the only purpose of a gift is to bring worship back to God,
Mm.
not for us
Yeah.
to receive it ourselves. We're just a medium. You know what I'm saying? We don't need credit for anything.
Right.
So I
Right.
know some people say, like you talk about humility. Humility, man, a person got something and they humble. And when we was listening to that testimony, man, something that crossed my mind is that, man, being blessed with a lot, being beautiful, and this is in a physical sense, about the statement I'm about to make. It usually comes with a certain level it makes you easy, makes you more susceptible
Mm.
to emotions that disconnect you from God, pride, uh, being puffed up.
Mm-hmm.
You ever notice like some of the most beautiful or most gifted people are some of the most arrogant, most prideful people?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
Absolutely.
something that we don't even get, understand. And we talk about that starting in the spiritual realm. And now imagine the attacks that, you know, the adversary can make on people understanding that concept. You're just like me, but you're in this physical realm. You might not have it on the scale that I had it, but I know how to use what you got that God bless you with against you and make you think, it's more than what it is and make you turn your back on God. But in the end, and this is why I always use this phrase, be humble or be humbled. Because
Mm-hmm.
the way
Yeah.
life goes is like you can have something, but it can easily be taken away. You can talk about physical beauty, you can talk about strength, you can talk about health, you can talk about wealth, you can talk about everything. It can all be taken away. And
Absolutely.
this fire thing that I just saw in California the other day, that was one of the thoughts that crossed my mind. I said, I know there were a lot of people that turned to Christ the next day.
Oh,
You know
ain't
what I'm
nothing,
saying?
ain't nothing, ain't nothing like feeling helpless to make you want to call on the Most High.
You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people turn to the Most High Christ. Because it's like, bro, nothing astronomical came through there. It was just fire and wind. Like, it ain't like he sent hell and
Right.
brimstone. It
A
was
tornado of
fire
fire
and
from the sky or something.
wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fire and wind. And it brushed over. It took multiple houses out. So some
Whole
people
neighborhood.
lost everything.
Yeah, whole neighborhood.
Everything.
I saw one girl
Some
talk about
people,
the school the neighborhood school burnt down. Elementary
right.
school I was going to, everything.
It was cars melting. I don't know how that happened, which they need some investigation with that.
Mm.
But the point I'm making is it was a house, this guy, he rolled past a house that he previously saw on Zillow for 35 million, burnt down, burning
Yo.
up. I'm like, bro, imagine you inherited the house. You wasn't the one that had the money. Your parents had
Hmm.
the house. They passed it down to you. You lost it. You don't have no money. You don't have no wealth. What you gonna do now?
And the
You know what I'm
insurance
saying?
company pulled out.
Your insurance companies have pulled out. So imagine like how you could be here right now and then it'd be pulled back down
Right.
to
Everything.
ground level. You still got your life. I'll let you
Right.
keep your life. I'll let you keep your health. I let you keep your family, keep your kids. Y'all made it out safe. But I'm gonna take this away from you right now just to teach you a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all ain't getting it. So before this get to a point where it's no return, you're gonna lose this. So
Mm.
I like when you talk about like having things and being given something to a certain extent, bro, I just feel like more than what we need is poison sometimes. It's poison to our spirit,
Yeah.
it's poison to our mind, even if it's a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because having a home is a good thing. Having a transportation, food, shelter, rent, it's a good thing. But when you start getting to the point where, all right, I'm giving you now, I'm about to, all right, you had $100. I'm about to give you 1,000. Let's see what you can do with that 1,000. I'm about to give you 10,000. How can you handle 10? I'm about to give you 100.
Well,
Now you get to a
go back to
million.
Matthew 13, the parable of the sower and the seed, right? Because
Right,
he said, some people, they receive gifts and that's a distraction. So the devil's gonna flood
right,
you with stuff if it's gonna distract you from you're too busy with the blessing that you don't have time for the blessor. There's
right.
some people
And
because of poverty, they get distracted because they're so busy trying to dig themselves out of the hole that they don't have time to consult and have a relationship with the Most High. So
right.
it's a
It,
definitely a sword, a two-edged
right.
sword dealing
It's
with those
two-edged
kinds of
sword.
things.
And there was a prayer in Proverbs, man, where or I think it was Proverbs or Sirach, where one of the, I think prophets was saying, like, give me neither riches nor give me poverty. Like, keep me like
Yeah.
level. Cause I don't want to be in that, you know what I'm saying? That area in which I'm fighting for this. And that was one of the things we talked about Job earlier, about Job being tested, that
Hmm.
made him so great because he
Yeah.
had everything a man could have and lost it all, but he stayed the same.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the
I mean,
like
that was
my
the
like
whole. Yeah, that was the whole argument Satan made. Well, yeah, Job gonna be a good servant because you bless everything he touched. Take all that stuff from him, he'll curse,
right,
and he didn't.
right.
How many of us would be like?
Exactly.
And I want to get a couple of scriptures to go on what you were talking about with
Yeah.
the pride and whatnot, right? It says, James chapter 4, verse 6, but he that giveth more grace. Wherefore he said, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. And then 1 Peter 5 and 5, likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder, right? Respect the elders. Yeah, all of you be subject one to another and be clothed with humility. For God
Right.
resisteth the proud and giveth grace to the humble. So it's important. That's a very, very important attribute. Uh,
Right.
and I
There's a
just,
verse.
I feel like that's something I always struggle with was pride. I'm not, I don't think it's arrogance. I don't think I'm arrogant. I don't
Yeah.
believe I'm better than nobody. But it's not hard for me to just be like, yeah, I can just wake up in the morning and just be feeling myself, you know,
Yeah.
and I in my mind I'm battling saying, okay, am I proud or am I confident? Am I arrogant or am I confident?
Right.
Um, but yeah,
Right.
that's something I'm trying to be aware of, man, and I don't want that to hold me
That
back. And I'm having this conversation for the people listening because I'm sure I'm not the only person. But
right.
go ahead, what you saying?
Yeah. I think, and there's a scripture in James that talk about, praying for things and you pray for this, but why are you praying for it? The reason you're not getting it is
Yeah,
because you're
you
praying for it
receive
to,
not because you ask amiss.
right, you're asking
Yeah.
for the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? So I just think people need to remember that pride, if we being real, was probably probably pride and jealousy were the first sins that were committed in the spiritual realm before sin ever entered the physical realm.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And those are like two things that I see a lot of in humans today. They get money, they want to show it off. They get this, they want to show it off. They got this, want to show it off. Beauty want to show it off. This, that,
Hmm.
like it's the same stuff. And this is how you know what this world is about. Because these applications and all of this stuff is more so about people taking things they have or giving an image, oh, I have this or that. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to have things, but be humble about things. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And that's something that I feel like is lacking a lot. I feel like even
Yeah,
the
well,
there's a verse in Sirach that talk about I think it was the Holy Spirit. They said one of the things I hate or despise is a poor man that's proud.
yeah, yeah,
It's just
I'm familiar
like,
with that script. That one hit. When I seen that and I read that, that was wow. I'm like, man, that's deep. Like a poor proud man.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, like you poor and proud. And that's what we seeing
yeah.
today. A
And that's
lot of
not to be mistaken
poor,
with taking
proud
pride in
people,
your
you know what
work
I'm
and
saying?
taking pride in the things you do. But we talking about
Right,
proud in the sense of, kind of being
right.
arrogant, because like I said,
Arrogant,
say the
yeah,
most High
and prideful,
resisted
man.
the proud because he can't, most High not going to empower somebody who's going to give themselves the glory and the credit. But you got to remember that I'm nothing
Right.
without the most
Yeah, I'm
high.
saying.
I didn't do this. God did this, you know. Why callest thou me
Right.
good? There's but one good.
Right.
So, yeah, we definitely gotta,
So you got to move yourself out the way, man.
yeah, stay in the spirit of humility. 100%, man. Yep, yep,
You
yep.
know what I'm
I
saying?
found this other video. I'm gonna check out the one you sent me too, but I found this one I mentioned earlier uh,
Yeah.
about the devils being legalist, right? And I thought it was interesting. I thought I want to place it. It's 1 minute, 59 seconds. I want to check it out, and then I want to get your response
Hmm.
to it. See what you think about this.
Yeah.
Let me know when you can see that.
It ain't come up yet.
No, no, okay. I ain't started sharing it yet. Let me know when you can
Oh,
see
now
it.
it's coming up now. Yep, coming up now.
See it?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. Check it out.
The devil wants everybody to believe God's the legalist. He's not. It's the devil. So when the enemy has had a right to get into your life through generational iniquity and sin, or the occult, traumas, or doors that have been opened. Sometimes we open doors unaware. Sometimes your lack of resistance is a legal right. God put that authority in the hands of man. I love to say this, that we don't deal with the same devil Jesus did. When Jesus walked the earth, he dealt with a devil that still was operating in the authority he had usurped from Adam and Eve. See, God's decision to rule earth through mankind was so final and so eternal that the devil knew he had to go through man to get it, which he did. So God became man, Jesus, Colossians 2:15. Jesus stripped him of all of his armament, made a bold display of him, triumphed over him on the cross. And Hebrews 2:14 says he brought him to nothing. And he said, all authority has been given back unto me. Go ye therefore. So we deal with a devil who really is stripped of authority. And so when we break the rights that he's gotten into our lives, we can get free. And we can really get anybody free that wants to be free.
Yeah, what you think about that?
That's very interesting, man. And I think we've had a lot of conversations about this in the past too. Like we talk about law, because basically in the physical sense, nobody can come do harm to you, like in terms of authoritative figures or people that have anything against you,
Mm-hmm.
except something happened. Like I've even what was it, man? And this blew me away. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get to that. So legality, uh, definitely, because there are rules to this. This is not a situation where you can just do whatever you want. Because if the devil could have his way, everybody would be dead. I'll just blow the whole world up, kill everybody, get it over with. Why would he take his time? I mean, of course, you could be a kind of being that would want people to suffer. And we do feel that the adversary has that mindset to make God's people suffer, make them endure the pain that he endured and feel what he felt. But if the adversary can have his way, it would be to destroy everything. But he can't do that. He doesn't have, number one, the authority to do that, and he doesn't have the power to do it. You know what I'm saying? So you, as a creature of God, have to give legal right for certain things to come into your space, just like you have to open up your door and allow anything to come in to your home. Somebody can try to break in, you know what I'm saying? But if your house is set up a certain way, nobody can just break in. You know what I'm saying? So there's spirits, considering this, that we have an angel and we have spirits from the Most High that are keeping us. Those things need legal right to enter. So that's very profound. And one of the things I wanted to highlight, and we talk about this video a lot, was that occasion with the lady. This testimony, I don't know if you know, but sharing this with me, man, that opened my eyes to a lot of things
Which one?
about the guy who was big into witchcraft. It was a man who was big into witchcraft. He converted to Christian, and he was talking about this lady coming to him and saying, my husband is having an affair with this lady who's a Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
You
don't know
saying
if you remember that.
you saying this one I shared with
And
you?
then
Oh, and
what'd you say?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I know where you're going. When I hear it, I know I'm on.
Yeah, and then
Yep, yep.
he said, "Oh yeah, I'll take her out." And now, matter of fact, she a Christian. I'll do it for
Yeah.
free.
Oh, yeah. John Ramirez.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember. Yeah,
so
he called the devil his
he
daddy.
had to go, right, had to go consult the devil. And when he consulted the devil told him, "Nah, that one we got to leave it alone. Got to leave it alone." Now think about that. here it is, this Christian lady is having an affair with this married man, which is this a completely different subject. You know what I'm saying? But the man went to get authority or get authorization to take this lady out from the devil. And then you know who the devil had to get his authorization from? You know where he had to get his from?
Yeah, he had to go upstairs.
He,
Yeah,
yeah, to go upstairs and get that authorization and that stamp and that
yeah.
signature, and he couldn't get it.
He
You
couldn't
get what I'm
get it.
saying?
And he was stuck. And I've
So,
heard several testimonies of people who practice witchcraft coming against people, and they and they get there and it's this huge angel, or
right,
they send a spell out against a person and it comes back on them and they get sick and it comes back even worse.
right,
People talk about true Christians opposed to a person who just who's saying it. And they talk about
right,
going to the spiritual realm and they look at a person in the spirit and they want to see how powerful they are in the spirit, what kind of power they have in the spirit. And they like, oh yeah, this person ain't got no
right,
power. They have no power in the spirit
right,
because they don't have a relationship with the Most High. They're not walking right. They have no. And so a lot of us are walking in power that we don't even realize. We're walking in the
right.
power and authority that
Just
we don't even
everyday
know. And
stuff,
many of
man.
us are just not. We're not exercising or walking in the power that we've been given because we're just
Right,
oblivious and letting these demons run rampant. And it's
right.
really,
And I think going into what you're saying, man, I think
Saddam Hussein
one
rejected
of
the
the biggest
Rothschild banking
things is that
protocol.
people
He,
have forgotten
he
how
rejected
powerful
the
we
central
actually are.
bankers. That's
You know
what
what I'm
that was
saying?
all about.
People
Yeah,
have
he
forgotten
wanted his
that.
own
And
system
that's
of
one of the
money
things the devil
gained
plays
outside
on.
of the central
He
banks.
needs legal
We can't
authority.
have that.
Don't forget that.
hey, I'm sorry. I was trying to get that video you sent me and it was audio was playing. I missed the first part of what you said there. Say it again. I know the listeners heard
Oh
it.
no, no, no. I was just saying, no, I was saying one of the things that we forgot, one of the things that people today have forgotten,
Mm,
and one, because we've allowed ourselves to be deceived that there is no God. So if there's no God, you can't form a connection with something you don't believe exists. And
mm,
one of the greatest powers in this world is belief.
mm.
Like belief is like
Faith,
one of
yeah.
the most powerful things, because we saw when Christ was walking the earth, it took his power and then it took the people's belief to be healed. Like
Mm-hmm.
they had to believe that they could be healed for his power to work, right? So in the opposite sense, you had to believe that bad things will happen to you for them to happen. Not to say in every
Oh,
sense,
all right.
you know what I'm
Hold on,
saying?
hold on. So now you getting you hitting on something because you're saying belief and the whole time saying I think you should be using the word faith, which I still do, right? You're saying
Right,
belief, but I think you're
right,
more so referring to faith. But when
right.
you operate in fear, fear is faith in the devil.
It's also faith.
It's faith in the
Right.
devil because you're
It's
believing that the power of wickedness, you're believing in the negative. You know what I'm saying? Just like you have to have faith that God is going to heal you, you have to have faith that this cancer is going to kill you. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And so yeah, exactly what you're saying. So when you have
right,
either you're operating in faith one way or another. Either way, you're exercising
right,
faith, and is your faith in the power of the Most High,
right.
or
We're
faith
always
in the power of the
exercising
devil.
faith.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Always. And
Yeah.
and the thing that, and when we talk about legality, these are tools that can be used against you. You know what I'm saying? That if that faith ain't there, then okay, we can use that. Like, because one of the things I see in the physical sense is I've seen people that are doing God's work encounter people that are trying to stop them. So one of the things people do is intimidation.
Mm.
Intimidation is nothing more than I'm going to do something to try to
You're
mess
afraid,
with your thought process to make you abandon your faith or
right?
abandon your lack of
Operate in doubt
fear.
and fear.
So
Yeah.
then I can use that, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
to gain
And
control.
that's something that the devil teaches. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have that, then the only thing that a person can do is go ahead and try to physically harm you, try to take you out, which, the scriptures say, fear not those that, can
Yeah.
kill the body,
Yeah.
but fear
And no
him who
weapon
can,
formed against me shall prosper. You know what I'm saying? They try to
right.
kill Paul, they
And
try to take a lot of people out. And until
right,
until the most High say so, don't nothing happen. You might can hurt me.
right. So
Can't kill me until the most High call me home.
right. So the biggest thing that I was trying to like hone in on is just the fact that human beings today have lost the idea and the understanding of how powerful we are. Like, do you know how powerful a man really is when he's like connected. When I say connected, like when number one, God is communicating with him in his mind, he, his sense of I would say, people talk about people being able to pick things up like in the spiritual sense before they happen, being prayed up and understanding the legalities of this world. No harm or hurt can happen to me unless God authorizes it. And
Mm-hmm.
then I have the power to let things in and out of my life.
Yeah.
Like that's a powerful person. And we've seen the devil fear people. Like we've seen him fear people. Like we've got instances of him encountering people like Abraham and certain things happen and then trying to get Abraham to do certain things. And then Abraham, I remember it was one verse we read, we was talking about Abraham said something and the devil got scared and ran away. I'm like,
Well, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
that's what I tell you. Say, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Right now,
Right.
once again,
So there's power.
I just want to say this. Right, when we talk about the devil is not omnipresent. We talking about the devil, the fallen
Hmm.
one, the rebellious one. Right, that was that led the praise and worship. There was the cherub that covereth. Right, he's only one being. So when we talk devil, there are many devils
Right.
that are operating under this devil. So I don't want people to, because I've heard people say, well, y'all give the devil too much credit. No, we're speaking with a level of understanding. I
Yeah.
want to make sure everybody else understands as well. There's only one Satan or fallen one, but I mean, there's many devils, there's many Satan, there's many enemies, many adversaries. And so when we're talking about the devil, we're not talking about the one devil that's everywhere at the same time tempting all these people. No, there are many devils that's operating. So when we're saying the devil, we're talking about this
Right.
whatever demonic spirit that is assigned to you that you're working with. And the scripture says you resist the devil and he will flee. So we all have demons assigned to us depending on how active you are in spiritual warfare, depending on how many demons and how strong these demons are that are assigned to you. And they're trying to figure out a way to put out your light, remove the light of the Holy Spirit from you, getting you to resist the Holy Spirit, uh, um, operate in disobedience, sin, so you can separate yourself from God so they can have access to you. But if you resist them, they will
Right.
flee, right? Because if you're
Right.
operating in the power and authority given to us by uh, Christ through His sacrifice, through His obedience to the Most High, then the devils they can't do anything. They hate us. They want to destroy us. Like it's something you said earlier. If they could, they will kill everybody on earth, but they can't. Why? Why we not just? Why they
Right.
don't just come and kill us? Because they can't. They don't have the authority, right? It's through
Right.
our ignorance,
So why are
through
you
our
afraid?
disobedience.
You know what
It's
I'm
through, you
saying?
know what I'm saying, our lack of willingness to serve God that they gain authority and power in our life. Right? You're
Right.
talking about
So
legal things, the legal aspects. When we do certain things and we operate and we
saying,
choose to operate in ignorance, and we do those things that open up these doors, and you receive certain gifts from people that you don't even know, that you have no idea these people are heavy into witchcraft and demonic practices. And they give you a gift and you take it and you bring it in your house and you just came into an agreement with a witch. You just came into an agreement with a demon. And in the spiritual realm, that's a legally binding thing. When you come into agreement, you come
right,
into covenant.
contracts.
Yeah, you come into covenant with unclean spirits. And then you wonder why everything is going wrong in your life. But if we prayed, if we fasted, if we maintain the relationship, because any relationship takes maintenance, right? If we maintain the relationship with the Most High, we can hear from the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit say, hey, take that out your house. Holy Spirit tell you, don't shake that person's hand. Hey, don't take that gift.
Yeah.
But we have to be in a practice of this.
Yep.
Faith is a process, right? You know what I'm saying? And every man is given a measure of faith. And I pray for more faith. I pray for a greater measure of faith. I, I do. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's through situations that your faith is tried and tested and that it's made stronger. All right. And
Right.
so and it's made, maintaining a relationship, hearing from the Holy Spirit. These are all things that come through repetition of lifestyle, right? You get better at hearing from the Holy Spirit. You know, your understanding, your perception spiritually gets better through practicing listening to the Holy Spirit, through practicing praying to the Most High, through practicing fasting and listening. So this something that has to be a part of our daily routine. It's something we do on a regular basis, and we get better and stronger. And scriptures are clear. If we seek the Most High,
Right.
we will find them. So, You know,
That's true.
we have to be aware of a spiritual war that's taking place and do the things necessary to protect ourselves. Because, you know, the Most High,
For sure,
he
man.
put us in a position to win, but we're just so far from him that we're losing by the drove, by the you know, by the millions. And it's unfortunate, man. Um, I got this video up. Did you still want to go to it, or
Yeah,
you
that's a
too
good.
far from it?
Yeah. You could. It's like a minute and
Yeah, you want to
19
preface
seconds,
it?
something like that. So basically, we were talking about the World Economic Forum
Mm,
earlier, and man, I ain't gonna say everything I wanted to say regarding this and that, but like this video said a lot. It opens up our eyes regarding, the things we were told about certain events that happened like in 2001
mm.
and what the whole war was about and things of that nature.
Oh yeah,
So
I
he
heard a few
gonna
seconds of it.
yeah, and then he's gonna go into what needs to be done for the World Economic Forum to get to where they're trying to get.
Is that
So
Stu?
I wanted y'all to hear this, huh?
Is that Stu Peterson or something?
It might be.
I think that's Stu Peterson. I've
I'm
never
not.
seen him like outside of a suit and tie, but I think that's
Yeah,
I don't know. But anyway, here we
yeah,
go.
might be
Let's check it
him.
out.
That Saddam Hussein rejected the Rothschild banking cabal. He rejected the central bankers.
That's what that was all about?
Yeah, he wanted his own system of monetary exchange outside of the central banks. We can't have that shit.
Right.
Guess who else did that? JFK.
Use the language.
I was going to ask you about
Guess who else did that? Muammar Gaddafi.
that. Yeah.
Guess who's doing that now? Vladimir Putin. Gotta have regime change. Because we can't have this rejection of the central banks, because that's what's required for the ushering in of the one world governance, the Great Reset, Agenda 2030, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
The New World Order, the Hold the Pale Horse. You know, that is every single military intervention that we have been in has been funded by the Rothschilds. So,
Banking system.
yeah. So just think about that. The bankers tell us when to open our borders. The bankers tell us when transgenderism should be accepted. The bankers tell us when we're facing systemic racism and when to riot. We don't do anything with or without the permission of the bankers.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was yeah.
Yeah,
As they're going all the way back to the whole thing with the World Economic Forum and
right.
stuff they talking
Eh,
about because yeah, man, that's I mean that's a very good point. You know, with all those people that got killed. Now I didn't know JFK was resisting the IMF. Uh,
Man,
but
go back and look at what he was trying to do. Like
yeah,
I went back and looked at it. I'm like,
that's why
wow, why nobody
that's
talks
obviously why he
about
got
this?
killed.
Right, because he was trying to bring back the currency being backed by gold and things of that
Gold
nature and
standard,
all of
yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to bring back all sorts of stuff because eventually they started stripping the coins because our coins in the US used to have
And
precious
real,
metals as a part
yeah.
of them. You know what I'm saying? The last coin that
Fine.
I think
And
that
it,
had
it
silver in it
wasn't
was the
just
JFK
that they've
coin.
got the planet
You know what I'm saying?
planned to be
So
for your
crazy stuff
good.
with that. But I
But
was gonna
now we
say
got it on
something
the
else,
inside.
man. I don't know if
And
you've
so wouldn't it
seen.
be great if the microchip inside your body now uh, can take
Would you say you got something else? 'Cause I found the other
I need a.
video that we're gonna probably have to do a whole nother thing on because this video is pretty long. But
Yeah.
I mean,
So
me breaking down what this World Economic Forum got going on and the stuff, bro, is very interesting. But what you was about to say?
so man, I found this thing right, and I hope I can find this. Uh, this blew me away. And this is something I've been talking about for a long time. And I don't want to say the person's name because I don't know how the algorithm responds. But there is a man from Germany, in the 40s and 50s, 40s, 30s that
Okay.
was a part
Yeah,
of
yeah,
World
yeah.
War.
Had
You
a
know what
very
I'm talking
unique
about?
mustache.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
And so we have AI now. So AI can now take what you say in one language and translate it into
Oh, I
English.
gotta go back because I never trust because you see the subtitles. You're like, man. You don't know what that man said,
Yeah,
what they put on them subtitles.
right.
And now you can go
So,
back and listen to it in AI and oh,
bro, I saw this video. Somebody took one of his speeches
yeah,
and translated it to English. And you know, it used the same intonation,
yeah,
like emphasis on words and all of that. Man, listen, everything that we just watched in that previous video just now, it was basically him saying that, like, we're not going to let certain people come in here
mm,
and take over our banking system and run us out and do like they did in this country and that country. We have the right to our own banking system, our own this, our own that, and this,
yeah,
that, and the third. And then I went to the comment section and people were like going crazy. It was like, wow, so where's all this stuff that I was hearing he was saying in this video when I was in school? People saying that he
right,
was saying this or saying he was saying that. I don't disagree with what he's saying in this video.
right.
And then somebody made this equivalent, and this took me out. So there's a certain country in the Middle East right now that's being, you know, trying to like basically messed up by a country that's neighboring them. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And
right,
it's
right,
been
right.
going on since the 40s. And somebody made this equivalent. They said essentially, if that country that's being destroyed right now had a leader over it speaking against what's going on right now, they would turn that person into the
Into the
guy that we know from
right.
the
Yeah, they would
40s.
demonize him the same way.
Same
That's
exact way.
yeah, because it like this
So
kind of on a common sense level. You're saying, well, what is he saying to these people to galvanize these people like this? How is he getting all
right,
these people to to agree with him and do this? And they always make it seem like I'm gonna call him Mustache. They always make it seem like
right,
Mustache
Mustang.
uh did some kind of mind trick, Jedi mind trick on all these millions of people and got these people to fight
Right.
to the what I'm saying, to the death. And granted, he was into some wicked stuff, but he was saying
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
that made sense. Something he was saying that had
Yeah.
to make sense. That's
And
interesting.
that
That's
blew me
very
away. I'm gonna try to
yeah.
find this video and send it to
I
you.
gotta find that. I gotta find it. And now
Yeah.
let's for those watching, man, y'all watching this, these videos that we're playing, all these videos, I think all of them are on my YouTube channel. They're all on, and you go to the playlist. It's the very first playlist called "Spit Out the Bones." And when as I'm going through watching these videos and getting this information, I'll add them to this list. I got different playlists with different videos, but I have most of these videos, if not all the videos that we're sharing, that we're getting these conversation pieces from on the YouTube channel. You go to the YouTube channel, go through and search it, man. And "Spit Out the Bones." I got a lot of stuff on there. I feel like it's really informative. I'll say it like that. Really, a lot of really informative information. If I find that video of Mustache that's translated, I'm gonna put that on there. If it's
Yeah.
already on YouTube, there's nothing they can say. But yeah, y'all want to
Yeah.
get the
I
information,
gotta find this
see the
one,
whole
man.
thing, and see what we talking about. Especially in the beginning of this video, I'll probably play a clip of that the video that we didn't show that kind of started this whole conversation. But man,
Right.
hey, listen, that's interesting because I've always wondered about that. Because he's
And
been
there are other speeches he did
yeah, yeah.
that I think people are beginning to translate and things of that nature. So it was this one I saw. And when I saw this, because this is something I already knew, like I knew this because I cannot find this article. I don't know what happened to it. I wished I saved it. There's an article I was reading 5 years ago because I used to have the same perspective that everybody else had about that person. But then I found this article that traced the history of certain people that are running the banks and stuff today, like give you their whole history, where they started and what countries they went to, what year, what happened, when they got kicked out of here, when they were able to go back in here, and what they did to each person. And then it talked about it basically talked about the real record of history that transpired and why certain people were against him. And when it got up to him, it basically explained like he was not the person they made him out to be. He was
Mm,
a person that was basically trying to stop from what happened to other countries. Because you got to think about it. In the 40s, America had already been taken over. Our monetary system had already been taken over. The Federal Reserve was already there from 1913. The Great Depression had already taken place. We had people
This
getting birth
is a
certificates and
swastika,
social security
a word
numbers
of
and all that
Sanskrit
stuff
word
now.
meaning
So
swastika,
yeah.
associated with
So he saw all
nitrogen
of that and he was
filters.
fighting against it. So that was my perspective change. But Yeah, this
India
guy,
and the
man, if I
Americas.
could find this video,
Hey, you know
let
it's
me
funny though.
see.
Talk about
Originally
mustache
like
man, right?
this. And can you write
Uh,
or
Yeah,
facing?
do you know the symbol that he used, right? That's this evil symbol that he used.
yeah,
I guess the cross with the, you know what I'm saying, the S's or whatever, turn sideways, whatever. I don't know, but you know, I'm talking
yeah,
about, I don't want to say it either, but there's videos of this symbol being found in ancient civilizations. He didn't come up with that symbol. That symbol existed way before him, and there's
right,
a lot of there's a much deeper understanding to that symbol. You know, and
right.
I'm gonna look into that. I want to research that as well, see why he chose that
In
symbol.
India has a different meaning. You know
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
in India, it
Yeah.
has a different meaning.
The
Ethiopia
Native
has a different
Americans had
meaning.
the symbol. Native Americans was using the symbol. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, that's here's the one that says how the world loved that symbol until Mustache stole it. Check that out. Put that too.
Man, let me
Yeah.
find this thing.
I'm gonna add this to
But
my.
yeah, that guy, man, the history with him, man, is
Yeah, well,
so messed up.
this
Like,
would made me think of too because you know they kind of do the same thing to MLK
right,
or Martin King, right? Uh,
yeah,
you know, they only televise and highlight certain of his speeches. But there's other speeches that he
right,
gave that they don't highlight, they don't talk about. Like you don't hear the one of him about him talking
yeah,
about us being men and standing up, being willing to die. You don't hear the ones he talk
right,
about, the speeches he gave about the economic power and how to
yeah. I was
exercise
about to say
economic
that.
power and stuff
Yep,
like, so you don't hear those. You hear the I have a dream and but he it's a lot of stuff that he talked about that you just don't that's just not I don't want to say not recorded in history, but it's not.
it's not shown. And
Yeah,
that's
it's
why
not
he got
highlighted.
killed. Honestly,
Right, right,
he got killed for the stuff that they not showing us, as
right,
opposed to the stuff we are being shown.
right, right.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
yeah, so I mean, they do something like that that's prevalent in our society, and we can still be kind of, I won't say duped, but limited into our understanding of the things that he actually said, or the rest of what he said. Then they could easily do it with something like that, and from a foreign country in a foreign language.
Right.
Yeah,
Man, that's the scary thing. And the thing is, Americans, we don't, if you don't know German, you can't, you know, say, oh yeah, they lying, whatever, whatever. No, you can't. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what you're hearing. But then when you got AI now, you can take stuff and use it for stuff like
yeah.
that. Or you got a person from Germany who knows what's being said,
After mistaking the
then
swastika for Adolf Hitler's
yeah,
Hakenkreuz or hooked cross, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and
Mm.
Indian origin politician Jagmeet Singh have sparked a fresh controversy.
Yeah, okay. So now we're gonna try something that we haven't done before. So we're gonna do I guess a type of reaction. So earlier in this conversation, I mentioned about this particular video dealing with the World Economic Forum. So I found a video. So what we're gonna do is we're going to watch it and then pause the recording or unpause the recording to kind of give reactions to certain parts. So it might seem a little sporadic. I'm not sure how it's gonna come out, but I just want to kind of let y'all know I'm just trying something new here, and we're gonna react to it. So right now, we're gonna show a clip, right? And then you'll tell me when you want me to stop it, Simo, and then you can respond
yeah,
to the part you want to respond to. So this guy is talking about, and this is fair use, right? This is a clip I found on a video I found on YouTube. The whole thing is about an hour long, 52 minutes. The the video is in the Spit Out the Bones playlist. You can go and find this video and watch the whole thing. And so I think I'm gonna take this caption off. I don't know. Well, maybe some people might like the caption. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna take it off because then they can do the caption on this video. All right. So he's talking about the World Economic Forum and their connection to the mark of the beast. All right. So this is what we're gonna start off with right here. Oh, I'm already sharing the video, right? So you can
yeah,
see
you
it.
sharing. It's on the
Okay,
screen.
it's
Yep.
already sharing. So, oh, okay. I should have stopped sharing for this, but All right, let's go ahead and do this, and then we'll fix from there. All right, let's go.
Got these guys on tape. I didn't get this from Joe Schmo, wacky guy, conspiracy.org. This is straight from their mouth. And a lot of it is straight from the World Economic Forum, their meetings in Davos that you and I will never get to go to. And they literally meet every year on a regular basis and discuss how they are going to take over the world. And go figure, what they say they want to bring in is a global government, a one world religion, a cashless society tied into people's body parts biometrically, specifically in the hand or possibly even in the forehead. What's that? That's Revelation 13. That's the Antichrist kingdom. The Bible is the only book on the planet that tells us exactly what this is. You can call it the Great Reset all you want. You can call it the Fourth Industrial Revolution all you want. You can call it augmented humanity all you want. It's the rise of the Antichrist kingdom. This is what these guys are doing. But I got them on tape. And now you specifically mentioned about the chips in the head. And for many, many years, if you look at the media, the school systems, cartoons even, people have been conditioned to get a chip in the hand to make payments. That's old hat.
And soon your hand may be all that you need to buy anything that you can afford and many things that you can't. Because a company called Walletmore is developing a very teeny tiny chip. You see it there in the x-ray? That should creep you out. The chip is like the ones that are found in smart credit cards or debit cards, and the chip gets embedded just under your skin and makes your whole hand a credit card.
But for years, even those of us in the prophecy circles, people are like, well, what about this forehead thing? Why the forehead? Well, not just why the forehead, but in 2016, I got Klaus Schwab on tape admitting in a European interview, he said, just as we've gotten used to being having everything microchipped, including all of our products and clothes and things of that nature, he says, and he points to the head, he says, and we will be microchipped. Then the very next year at the World Economic Forum, he is interviewing Sergey Brin. Sergey Brin is one of the two co-founders. The other one, Larry.
So I think what he just said is like extremely profound. And I think people really, really need to like ponder that last part, because essentially what he's saying is just as we've gotten used to certain things being, chipped or having tracking devices in them, we'll get used to us having that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people, I know some people coming from, we were born in the 90s. So our mindset, we understand what it was like before these things existed per se. Like we didn't have cell phones and computers, laptop computers and stuff. We knew what it was like to live life without having anything on us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So some of us, our mindset is a bit old school. We couldn't wrap our minds around having something implanted in us and going with that.
Yeah, no, under no
So
circumstances.
not to say that, right. So understanding that, there are people alive that remember that, like the man in this video. He's probably much older than you, yourself, and myself. So he's probably like there's no way I could see myself doing this. So you got to think about this. This is something, not to say we won't be around when it happens. I think we will be. We might be older, whatever, but this is definitely something that I could see the younger generation of today that grew up in a time in which they had iPhones, MacBooks.
They're not used to not being
virtual
connected.
reality. Right. They're not used to not being connected to something that's tracking them. They only see it for good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
normal, it's a way of life for them. Yeah. I mean, they couldn't imagine
exactly.
Not and something like this will give you instant access to the internet. You don't have to charge your device.
Right.
You don't have to get this and do that. Like it's instant connection to the internet. You're right.
Right. So the thing that's blowing me away is like I know for some people, I don't like, and this just be real. I think it's most people that grew up from a certain time period. We don't like having things on us that know our location. We don't like having things around us that start conversation. We like our privacy.
Yeah, we know
that's
what
a God-given right. Privacy.
We grew up in a certain degree of freedom and privacy and stuff like that. I was talking to my mom the other day, and I was talking about I was just reminiscing about stuff, and I can remember we talking about my great grandmother, and when we moved from one neighborhood to another neighborhood, and she mentioned a certain thing. I'm like, yeah, Medea did live behind the market basket over here. And I remember walking by her house, and I'm thinking back, I had to be about 4, 5, 6 years old. I can remember walking by myself to the store and walking by my great grandmother's house and seeing and going, and going to say, hey, hey, grandmother.
Yeah.
And, hey, Medea, and then go talk to Medea for a little bit, and then she kissed me and hugged me, and I mob on back to the house. We're talking 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks. And
right.
And it wasn't a problem. It wasn't, what I'm saying, it wasn't a problem for me to walk at that age that far.
Right.
And and now, like you wouldn't let your child walk around the corner.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
I mean, you can't trust them to walk
now.
next door. The next door neighbor might be a weirdo. And it goes to show you how how rampant sin and perversion is in the earth today opposed to what it was in the 80s. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm talking 88, 89. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I'm
It was
mobbing.
like that in the 90s for
Yeah,
me. I
yeah.
remember doing it. I had an argument with my brother about this like recently because I was like, bro, I remember being 4 years old, leaving out of the house,
Hmm.
walking. Because once like young, I don't know if people understand, but like at a young age, your mind is fresh. So you're absorbing everything.
Everything,
So I
yeah.
know this person lived, that person lived. So I remember walking certain places and seeing certain things and not knowing what I was seeing until I got older and reflecting back, like, oh, that was what that was. But I
Yeah.
remember that. And like you said, we didn't have phones on us. We
Mm-mm.
didn't have
Nothing.
Apple Watch. You know what I'm saying? And our parents just knew, okay, my child, they outside, they playing. They're gonna go do whatever they're gonna do and they're gonna come back. And that was you know,
Hey,
a
I'm
bad
laughing because
situation
you
for
said
some
we didn't
parents.
have a. I'm laughing because you said we didn't have an Apple Watch. I'm thinking, yeah, I might have had an Apple or a watch. I ain't necessarily have both of them at the same time.
Yeah, we had right. We couldn't, that was the
Yeah,
stuff I'm gonna tell you it's crazy. The Apple Watch, right? We was seeing
yeah,
that in the Power Rangers in the 90s. We was like, oh,
right.
that's
Yeah,
cool, man. I
yeah.
wish we
It
could
was
have a
fiction. It's
watch
make
like that where
believe.
we could,
Yeah,
yeah,
talk on your watch.
it was fiction. That was something we couldn't even fathom having. We wanted
Hmm.
it, but now that I think about it, that was programming. Because
Hmm.
now, as an adult, I can think back, oh yeah, the Power Rangers had watches that they could talk into and this, that, and third, and now we got them as adults. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So the younger generation now, they got certain things that they're seeing in their cartoons and their movies that are fictional right now.
Right. That
But
might be
in
real
20
tomorrow.
years, 15 years, it's going to be real for them, and they will have always wanted that.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
And,
So
and
it's
and that's how it's going
cartoons
to be
and
rolled
movies.
out. Yeah, that's how it's
Right.
going to be presented to
Remember,
the
you were a
people.
child and
Yeah.
you could have had that tracking device put in you and you can become like a robot and have super strength and
Right.
all of that
Yes.
stuff.
He
You
gonna
know
go,
what I'm
he gonna get
saying?
into that too. He gonna, well, you right on track. He
Right.
gonna get into that. But yeah, that's
So
how it's gonna be sold to the people.
so the last thing I'm just gonna say to that, man, is it's that really bothers me is the fact that these people can come out and say this stuff publicly
Mm.
and nothing
And it's
transpires.
normal.
Nobody says anything. You know what
Like
I'm
the
saying?
World
Nothing.
Economic Forum. What is that? How long?
Exactly.
How long has it been going? It's been going on for a long time. It just came public a few years ago, and a lot of people watching this video right now probably have never heard of the World Economic Forum. But this is
Right.
basically when the elites of the world get together and decide the future of the world, your future, and they're
Right.
telling you you will
There's
own nothing
one.
and be happy. They're telling you that you're going to receive these devices into your skin, and it's going to make your life better.
Right. So one
Mm.
person from, or one or however many people from a certain country is visiting this place, this meeting, and determining the fate of their country. And
Mm.
collectively, it's the world.
Yeah.
So I want y'all to think about that. There's a person out there, and this is the sad part about humanity, where I talked about us being separated and divided, is we're fighting over religion. We're fighting over
Hmm.
political
Distraction.
parties. We're fighting
Distraction.
over teams. We're
Distraction.
fighting over genders. We're
Distraction.
fighting over everything. It's all distractions. And then while we're doing that, it's set. This is how divided we are. We're so divided that it only takes 70 people
Mm.
or X amount of people to determine what's going to happen next for billions of people.
Yeah.
So you're telling me a small group of 70 people can go to a meeting and say, this is what we're going to do for the 200 or 300 million people in my country. This is what I'm going to do. One person from each country or two people, however many people. Like, that don't speak volumes to y'all. Like, I mean, to
It
me, that
should.
sounds crazy.
It
Like, that
should.
just blows me away. Like, one person can say, I'm going to do this is how we're going to do this in my country. And everybody follow along with it. And these videos can be out for people to see and nothing happens. Nobody say, y'all don't think this is a bit fishy? And then the fact that they're saying the same stuff that has been written in this book right here for
Thousands of
thousands
books
of
ago.
years. Not necessarily this book, but in the scrolls
Yeah.
that were translated into this text that we have for thousands of years. and it's the exact same thing. So what that makes you wonder, who are these people answering to that's giving them this idea to do this? You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
And I'm just saying, all I'm saying to y'all is just make sure that when some of these things start to happen and these things come to fruition, just remember this time period, because it's no longer conspiracy anymore. Like he just said in the previous clip, it's no longer conspiracy. This ain't the conspiracy theories from the 90s that was walking around, people saying he crazy, don't go to this house, don't talk to this person, whatever. Now it's the people that has the power to do it saying they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
It's funny how many things that were considered conspiracy theories back then are now, not only is it normal and it's known, people act like it was never a thing. You never called nobody crazy for believing this stuff, and now all this stuff is coming to pass. I've talked to my friends. They said, "Man, you said that was gonna happen. You said this was gonna
Same
happen."
here.
I just tell you, the truth, because this stuff is documented. Like I said, George Bush Jr. Did some legislation with the Amero, right? One currency for Canada, United States, and Mexico. And then in this video, he's going to talk about this North American Union.
Right.
And then Joe Biden just signed something into law in 2022 in connection with that. So when we were bringing these things out way back then, I said when we were bringing these things out way back then, we were conspiracy theorists. We was crazy. And then Barack Obama came, you know what I'm saying? You heard nothing about no Amero. No, you still haven't heard nothing about the Amero. And it might not be called the Amero when it comes out, but it's the same thing. It's a digital currency that's going to be put in place. It's going to be one currency for America, United States, America, Canada, and Mexico. It's going to be one currency. Right. Then it's going to be digital. And then there's going to be, they're going to have complete control. So these things are happening. And thank the Most High that we are being informed and we're aware and we can share this information. And you do with it what you will, but we're blowing the trumpet.
Right.
We're telling you. So just on a side note though, remind me, because it's something I've been wanting to do with you for a minute, man, about Billy Carson. I thought about it and I put it in a little note right there. But you remember when we did that video addressing Billy Carson, this is before a lot of people were doing. Some people were doing it, but it wasn't nowhere it is now. We did that video, and it was probably the biggest video we got on there, or second video. I don't know, might be one on this channel. And you know how they drug us in the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I was in the
boy got ether.
Yeah, I was in them comments, man. Going back and forth, people, back and forth. And now, almost everything we said got proven true. Everything we said he was lying about, he was incorrect about, he didn't know. All the stuff we were saying now, it's been shown, it's been exposed.
Yeah.
Y'all go back and watch the video we did on Billy Carson, and then you see what's happening right now. Because the dude Wes Huff, he just he may have articulated a little better. He had the actual some of the actual scripts with him, but the same stuff we were saying. This dude didn't know what he was talking about. And then, of course, you got an unmelanated person get on there and say it and make a lot more sense. It's more true, hold more weight. But the fact of it is that, you can't come against the word of the Most High like that. And, and I wasn't against that brother. And, but, when you start lying on the scriptures, man, I get upset about that. I couldn't stand it. And when my mama asked me about this dude, and I had been seeing his videos and I had been agitated with him. But when my mama asked me about that dude, I said, oh, no, I got to expose him. But anyway, man, I want us to go into that because we went at the video and the stuff people said, and so I definitely want to get your response on that. Yeah. But I don't want to. We on a whole different thing, but I had it in my mind. I want to remind you, and I want us to definitely get into that.
For sure.
At some point. But yeah, anything else on this thing before we go back to it?
No, we can get the next part.
All right.
Be great. For instance, we will be able to know instantly, with everybody getting these brain chips, instantly how even the audience is responding even now to our conversation. And this is on tape in 2017. So this is a long-term plan. Now,
reading our thoughts, basically.
Exactly, because there's two systems, Jenny, that they want to bring to the plan. It's called, and I'll give you the buzzwords. And if your viewers want to go do some homework and freak themselves out, search these two terms out. The first one's called IoT, Internet of Things. The second one that a lot of people don't realize is the other side of that coin. It's called IOB, as in boy, internet of bodies. And this is what Klaus and the gang want to bring to the whole planet. This is part of the Antichrist kingdom they're building. It isn't just an external monitoring of all things. That's your IoT. IoT is the Internet of Things, where they take microchips and they microchip everything externally. And it isn't just products and what we buy and sell, Revelation 13. It's everything. It's buildings, it's streetlights, it's cars, it's people, it's pets, it's everything. And they want to create this seamless matrix where everything externally will be monitored for your own good, especially if they shove you in one of their 15-minute cities. But that's only half of it. The other one, go back to the brain chip. They want to create not just external, constant, 24-hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week surveillance on the outside of you. They want it on the inside of you. That's the Internet of Bodies. That's why they want people to get a microchip. Whether it be a microchip that's in your hand that gives them access to your body, whether it be swallowing a microchip, and they've already been producing pharmaceuticals with microchips in it. So they've thought this stuff out. So they want to get a microchip on the inside of you, including possibly a brain chip, because that will give them two things. One is they will be able to monitor your body in real time. And listen to how they pitch this. They said, well, Janie, wouldn't it be great if we had this internal Internet of Bodies, constant monitoring, just like we could do on the outside for your good, but now we got it on the inside. And so wouldn't it be great if the microchip inside your body now can tell that in about 30 minutes you're going to have a heart attack, and then we'll get the alert. We'll send an alert to you to your phone, and then you'll be able to rush to the hospital before it even happens. I mean, isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? Hey, Janie, wouldn't it be great if we could get a microchip on the inside of you, and then before a pandemic busts out, we'll be able to stop it because we can tell who's starting to go down this route, and we'll shut them down or lock them down, or all that. And wouldn't that be great? And so that's bad enough. But the other thing that they are looking for is combining that with what's called nanotechnology. And with the nanotechnology, they can use this internal monitoring of our bodies and begin to genetically modify us for our good on the fly. So beyond just the monitoring inside of you with a microchip, and they could tell if you're going to have a heart attack, or they could do all this other possible things to you. Back to the brain chip. There's another side. That's freaky enough as it is. But the brain chip, as Klaus admitted on tape, that it will give them the ability to literally, I'm not joking, read your thoughts. That technology is not coming. It's already here. Now, it gets worse than that. Then they freely admit they won't be able to just read your thoughts, determine if you're a dangerous person. Or, and this is actually a new term that's come out. It's called predictive policing. It's like the movie years ago with Tom Cruise, Minority Report. And they had a pre-crime department where they could predict before somebody did a crime, and they would go and arrest them, but they haven't done a crime. Well, that's what they want to bring to the planet with the head chips. And they will, quote, be able to predict, well, you were just about getting ready to do something, so we came and arrested you, right? But that's bad enough. But then they admit that we could insert thoughts, we could delete thoughts, right? And then, I kid you not, I got one of the scientists on tape talking about the benefits of this, getting access to people's thoughts. And they want to also commercialize it and sell this. You're like, I'll never get a brain chip. This is nuts. Who would ever do this? Well, here's what they say. With the brain chip, and now with technology, we can again insert thoughts, including, watch this, and this is on tape, dreams. And so he envisioned very shortly what they're going to be able to do is to be able to offer a subscription-based
Netflix
brain chip service, to where before you go to bed, if you have their service, then you could scroll like you're scrolling at Netflix, and not just what do I want to watch, it's what do I want to dream about tonight. And it'll become a whole industry where Hollywood and others, filmmakers, whatever, they will basically create, not movies, but they'll create dreams for you. And then before you go to bed, if you got a subscription or you pay $3.99 or whatever they're going to charge, then that will be what you dream. But I mean, wouldn't that be great? No more nightmares, and you can pick whatever you want when you're dreaming. But see, that's how they pitch it. Now, the other downside is, wait a second, you give somebody access to your thoughts. They already said they can insert thoughts that weren't there before. So how do you know what you're thinking is really even true, or is even really coming from you?
Wow.
Number two, they can delete thoughts. Now, believe it or not, they admit that one. And here's how they pitch that. Well, wouldn't it be great for like the soldiers coming back from war? We all know they suffer from PTSD. What about the people who not go to war? We all know there's another pandemic of depression out there. And if you give us access to your thoughts with these brain chips, then we could delete those depressing thoughts. We could delete those memories that are causing PTSD. And so that's literally how they're pitching it to people. But what they're also not telling you is, wait a second. So if you can, what does our brain do? Our brain basically is the computer, the thinking system that controls the rest of our body. So this is the other aspect that they're working on. I'm not joking. Remote control humans.
It's so much.
Yeah,
what you covered in there, man.
Yeah,
this dream. But I'm thinking just now.
It was about to get to the part I was going to talk about, but even still,
with this dream,
he mentioned it.
Yeah, we're gonna get right back to it. With this dream thing. I'm thinking like, because that's the most I speak to people through dreams, and listening is it make a lot more sense why in Revelation say if you take this mark, you're done. Because why are you not able to be redeemed from this mark? What is this mark going to do? What's going to happen? It's going to change you from God's creation. You're no longer going to be what God created. If they can alter your genes, if they could take over your mind, because this is how we connect to the Most. That's how we hear from God, through our conscience.
Right.
And they're going to effectively take over your consciousness. If they're able to do all this, and if they're able to modify your genetic makeup. This is on a whole new level. So anybody who receives this mark, there's no redemption. You're done. You're cut off.
Right.
I think about those experiments they had. I don't mean to keep cutting y'all, but keep going. But I think
No,
about
you
the
good. You good.
had where I don't know if it was a one of those. I don't know if it was a vaccine or something. But I know they when they were this was a few. I gotta go back, but they a person was reported saying I can no longer feel God. I can't like
Yeah.
God is they took God took God from something they took the and they were saying people having they were saying that the
It
people were
was an
having psychotic
experiment.
episodes, but the person was saying that they couldn't feel God. So and then we talk about
Right.
I want to say it was Bill Gates who had that meeting with the FBI or CIA about the God gene and how to be able to turn off
Mm-hmm.
that God gene. And because they've isolated something in the brain that allows the person to connect with the Most High, and they call it the God gene. And they've been trying to figure out
Right.
how to control that God gene. And they're saying was that this is how we can deal with religious extremists. If we can get into people
Right.
turn off that God gene, then people will stop doing extreme things in the name of God. So
Right.
yeah, this
As
stuff.
if the things they doing ain't extreme.
You're right. Yeah, this stuff is happening, man. But anything you want to
Yeah.
respond to before
Yeah.
we get to
He
the
said a
smoke
lot,
control?
man.
Yeah.
So it was a few things. And this is my perception, and these thoughts were going through my head the second time. This is the modern day version of the forbidden fruit that was on the tree in
Mm,
uh, the garden. This is the modern day version of that. And when I say it's a modern day version, you got to understand that before Adam and Eve ate that fruit, uh, their minds and their being was one way. And it was never intended for them to eat that. And after they ate it, the Most
yeah,
High
those
said, you're going to
things.
die.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So there were certain things that came into our world and our existence in our bodies through that. Now, with this, I'm hearing this and I'm listening. I'm like, now, number one, I think some of the things they're sharing is true. I give them credit on. I think they can do it. But then some things I think they're selling it to people because once people get it, there's no turning back.
Right. It's in
So I
there.
can
Yeah.
tell you one thing, right? Once you got it, that's it. I don't have to honor anything now. I can
Right.
do whatever I want.
Got you.
Because
Yeah.
they're legal. Remember, we talked about that legal aspect of it. Once you got it, there's certain things that are gonna come with that. So
Mm-hmm.
once you got it, if I decide or if I lied and I really couldn't do all of those things, and that was just my way of getting you to get it, then I'm gonna do that. Just like the
Right.
devil, I lied to kind of get you to get it. I said you won't
Right.
gonna die, but yeah, you died.
Right.
So I
Right.
feel like when I'm hearing some of this stuff is gonna be true. And then some of it don't make sense to the average man. For example, them saying, well, we'll be able to delete thoughts and give you thoughts that are positive. Well, then you got the pre-crime part, which I know you mentioned the Marrow thing, but in '08, Barack, when he was in
Yeah.
office, he
Yeah.
signed a
We
law
talked
into
about that
play
back then.
that allowed them to come in and arrest people and no trial, nothing. And it's like, okay, why are all these laws compiling in the early 2000s leading up to the 2020s and 2010s and 2030s? It's kind of like something that was already put into place, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
They stacking the
the
deck. They
thing
getting
that comes to
ready.
mind is, right, if you're going to arrest me on the thought of committing something, right? Then who's to say you can't insert a thought in my mind to
Mm.
make me think about doing that and then
Then arrest
arrest
them for it.
me under false pretenses? You know what I'm saying? So what person would want to give somebody so much control that not only that you can read my mind, but you can insert something in there and then arrest me under the pretense that I had the thought when I'm not even in control of my thoughts anymore. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I think some things are just selling points. But then I think some things, yeah, they could pull it off, and that's gonna be the reason why you're not God's creation anymore. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The genetically modifying of a person, you know what I'm saying? Making you do things you don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? And then it was getting into the superhuman part, which I did want to touch on, because I don't know, I might have to shut it down after probably
Yeah.
like 20 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did want to touch on this because this is something that I think that we're losing.
You said
One of the things he
this
said
stuff is
was
the remote
that
control human part.
well, yeah, leading up to that was something
Okay.
else he
Okay.
said. he said that he was talking about AI. He was saying, man, the thing they're trying to pull off, there's not enough humans in the world to help
Yeah.
us to do this. You know what I'm saying? We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna need a system of AI to help us to manage
Right.
this. Well, we already AI is here now. It's
Yeah,
everywhere.
and it's here. Yeah, and it's here for
You
a
know what I'm
reason.
saying?
It's
Right,
not just to make the
exactly.
internet better.
Right, exactly. He talked about how Google said that it's trying to its sole purpose
Was to
was to
bring AI
create
into the world. Yeah.
worldwide AI system,
It wasn't
which
to
we know
become
Google
another
done
search
bought up.
engine. I think we might not have played that
Exactly.
part. We might not have played that clip, but earlier he talked about how
Oh,
Google first came out. There were several search engines that was
right.
popular functioning.
We had
Google didn't come out in
Yahoo.
order to be the number one search engine. That was not their purpose. He's saying that when they first came out, guys can probably research this. When they first came out, they said that their intention, their function was to bring AI to the world.
Right.
And that's what they've been working towards since the inception of Google, was to bring AI to the world. And so now we're here.
Right.
So now what? Now AI is in the world, it's getting more proficient. Now what?
It's only took them, but 15 years? Because Google came. Now, I take that back, probably about 20 years. Because Google came and, it was a search engine. So now, okay, I can see what people want to know, what they looking up. Boom, 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 boom.
They was
Okay, now
collecting
let me
data the
buy
whole
YouTube.
time. That was all data.
Right. It's all data collection. You know what I'm saying? I'm collecting data and then I'm going to create a system that I can feed this data into. So now I can create an algorithm. An algorithm can be used to track things, to make predictions, to do all sorts of things. And then the algorithm, after a certain point, it becomes self-functioning. You
Yeah.
don't need to be, it don't even need any more data input
Right.
because
Has
it
enough.
has
Yeah.
all the information it needs to be able to, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to take them less and less time to get to where they're trying to get, as this system that has been created is getting more sophisticated. So
Absolutely. And a couple things
this,
too. You
yeah,
talk about, how long it took them to create AI. Keep in mind that
right,
there's a difference between how long it took them to create the AI and how long it took them to bring it to the public. It existed long
right,
before it
exactly,
came to the public. They had to make it, commercial friendly and people friendly. But
right,
they had the technology a long time ago, right? They just had to make it where it's
right,
presentable. They had to put all the bells and whistles on it. And then the other thing is,
right.
you talk about oh man,
Consumer friendly.
you were saying, hold up, you said I lost my train. I lost the other thought. What did you just say?
I was talking about how Google was created in around about '05, and then they took, they used a search engine and see what we want to look up.
Okay,
Then we
yeah, okay, you
got
remember.
once
Thank you.
they, yeah,
So, I seen something about social media having enough. They're able to gather enough data from social media that they can make a avatar of you or a deep fake version of you completely using AI in your social media that will
right,
that your own friends and family wouldn't be able to differentiate between you and the AI based on all the information they've gathered on social media that you
right,
voluntarily put up, between the pictures of you
right,
showing how you're aging, the things you're eating, and
right,
they can make a video. The AI can create a version of you, a digital version of you that looks like a real video, your voice, your real voice, because people recording themselves online, your real voice, your real
hmm,
attitude, how you really would respond to things, to where your friends and family, it would be hard for them to tell the difference. And
right,
I think this is now we're starting to see the fruit of the tree. So you judge a tree by the fruit that it
right,
bears. So now we're starting to see the fruit of
right,
AI. I mean, the fruit of social media, the fruit of
right,
these
and
search engines and all this other stuff. So this stuff is
all
happening
of it's
for real.
connected, man.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is, they got a device, at least one device in almost every home, every home that allows, uses internet and things like that. Because now we talk about getting on a computer and doing searches. No, now it ain't like that. You see, once you sign up for Google, you sign terms of
Mm.
agreement
A
that
whole
allows
bunch of
them
other
to be
stuff
able
that they're
to
doing.
have access to your microphone, have
Mm-hmm.
access to your
Yeah.
camera, and now they can listen to your conversation. So they can input information even when you're not on the social media app. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All sorts of things. Then they got the camera that's following your eyes when you get on your phone to see what you're looking at, what's pulling your attention in the most.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy. So the thing that is probably the most sadistic thing about this is people can be aware of this now. to the point where, and they don't mind us being aware. It's just to the point now where who's going to put the phones down? Who's going to delete the social media? Who's going to stop using it? Some people don't know what it's like to not have existed before this stuff existed. And that's the point where you're going to get at. How can you go back to something that you never did before? Like I could turn my, I could, man,
Right. I
listen,
can function without a phone.
if I
without a
didn't need
device.
to talk to certain people
You will hear a
or do certain things,
testimony of past.
this could be gone, man. You know what I'm saying? So the thing that I wanted to speak to, but that he got to where it got crazy leading up to the AI was, creating this, which this is my personal opinion before I say this second part of Revelation, where it talks about the mark of the beast. I think the mark of the beast is going to be one thing, but then it talks about there being an image created, and then
the image of
the beast having the power to give life to the image.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, whenever we talk about image in the Bible, like God creating us in his own image, we're talking about a physical representation of something, like a physical being. You know what I'm saying? Like mankind is an image of God. That's what we are. We were created in his image. We were created in his likeness. So we're his image. We have life in us. God put life in us, and now we can move, we can think, we can walk, we can talk, we can do all those things. But
Right.
Revelation, it talks about an image being created that this beast is going to have power to give life to. You know what I'm saying? And it says that if we don't, as human beings, worship this image, you know what I'm saying, that we should be killed. You know what I'm saying? And it's my opinion, this is just my opinion, that when we talk about this image, we're talking about this is going to be a physical specimen. I can't say a being because I think only God can create beings, but I think it's going to be like a physical specimen. And he's going to talk about like, superhuman or / robots that connected to an AI system, going to have the ability to move, to do certain things. And you got to think about it. What's to stop them? Okay, look, we have robots now. We don't need men to go out and fight in the war. We don't need men to go out and be policemen. We don't need men to do this. You know what I'm saying? These are going to be your authoritative figures. This is going to be another class of specimens that are set above humans. Because think about it. At this point, human beings are kind of devolving. People are not reading anymore. People are not going to libraries. People using AI. People on social media. People not even connected with God anymore. So this class of beings is going to have all your information because you're connected to a system. You got a chip in you. You're connected to a system. It's been keeping your data for 30, 40 plus years. They know where you got fired, where you got hired, your credit score, everything.
Yeah.
This is going to seem like a class of existence. This specimen is going to seem like it's super intelligent when all it's been fed is your information that you help give it.
And if
by
they're able to
social media and
connect
stuff
the
like that.
system
So
with the IoT, Internet of Things, and IOB,
yeah,
in the
IoT
body,
and
so
IOB,
everything
Internet of
is
Bodies.
connected, then this being connected to AI will be able to access information instantly. So it'll know everything. It'll know everything on Earth. It will know
Right.
everything on Earth as soon as it happens, and it can predict things that happen. So it'll be able to tell the future and to a degree cause the future. Right? This authority and control
Gonna
of the house. So it would definitely seem like some type of God.
Right. And this is something, I know this sounds crazy, but this is exactly where things are going. I mean, we have the evidence. The people are talking about it themselves. And when you give somebody that's sadistic, crazy, greedy, all of those things power, there is no limit to what they'll do. If you give them a little bit, they'll take a lot. And that's where we're at now. We got a little piece of technology and they started seeing how they could use it and do all these things. And now it's like, okay, well, we're going to take this to the next level. You know what I'm saying? What are we going to do with it now? Now it's like, oh, we're going to want to put a microchip in people. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you do read Revelation, there are going to be people that stand on business. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people ain't going to go for it. You know what I'm saying? Here's what it is. There are going to be a lot of wars and things of that nature
He would give
and rebellions and stuff.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off or talk over you. But yeah, he says he's
Oh, you
gonna give the
good.
peace power to overcome the saints. He will make war with the saints, and he will be given the power to overcome the saints. Right. So many probably the majority of the people who refuse this mark, there's death that comes with that.
Right.
There's prediction that a lot of people are going to die from starvation because without this mark, you won't be able to buy or sell.
Right.
So,
Buy, sell,
it's
nothing.
it's a lot to prepare for. It's a lot to prepare for. All right, you want to get to this next part, right, with the remote control human?
Yeah, I probably have to.
Yeah, I know you got to
Yeah, I probably
wrap
have to
up. I know
bow on the next part. But yeah, we can go ahead and
yeah,
get it.
I know you wanted to get that part, and then yeah, we can probably try to wrap it up because, boy, it's some other stuff too. It's
Yeah.
you can
This
see
a
that.
50 minute. You gotta send me this one. This is good
Yeah,
right here, man.
it's in the spit out the bone.
This in the spit out the bone joints. Yeah, I
And
gotta
Yeah,
this is
pull this
something that they've
one
been
up.
working on for
This
years,
is
including our
good.
own military called DARPA. If you're not familiar with DARPA, DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. Basically makes it the high-tech military handy for the U.S. military, but ours military is not the only one. But they have admitted on tape, I even got this from the Science Channel, secular entities, they admit that they've been working on remote control soldiers for years.
And is that the
And
superhuman soldiers that they're talking about that NASA predicted by 2025? I mean, is that
yeah, dare I say, Jamie, sorry to interrupt you, but dare I say, they ain't coming in 2025. They're already here. Based on the research we did a documentary probably about 3 years ago now called Human Hybrid Super Soldiers in the Coming Genetic Apocalypse. And we found even way back then, for years, this is already going on. And it isn't just American. It is Chinese, Russia, European, South Korea, and dare I say that the Chinese one and then the Koreans definitely are way ahead. In fact, you could go on YouTube and do Koreans leader, and they're having a show of their super soldiers. They're not hiding it. And these guys are getting whacked on by poles and smashed and whatever, and they just don't blink an eye. They're just, there's something very abnormal going on there with these guys. So it's not coming. It's already here. But my point is, it's bad enough that you would do that for a soldier. But Janie, they want to bring this to everybody because once they get access to your brain, that's access to your body and how you operate, and they will be able to control you. In fact, I got on tape from a whistleblower from the CIA, from our own government. And they've been doing brain experiments, brain machine interface, B.i.G is what it's called. And they had an example. And this is sick and it's sad. He gave an example of a 16-year-old girl that they were interfacing into her brain. And he says just basically with a click of a button, they could have her playing guitar. They could have her in a complete state of frenzy, control body movements, all that. And first of all, I was like, what are you doing that to a kid, number one, and a teenager girl? It's like, well, this is sick. But this is nothing new. This is why Jesus said, because this is all going to culminate in the 7-year tribulation of the Antichrist kingdom. This is why you put all this stuff together, Janie. This is why Jesus said this is going to be the worst time in the history of mankind. Right? You don't want to be there. Now, praise God, there's a way out. The same one who warned us about that, loved us enough to tell us this. His name is Jesus Christ. He's the way out of this mess. He's the only way out of this mess. And then that's why we need to ask him to forgive us our sins and to be saved.
All right. That
Yeah. Whoa.
yeah.
Man. You remember that movie? What's the name of that movie with the brother from 8 Mile in it? Papa Doc. What's his name? He was a soldier, right? And then you found out in the movie that half his body was gone and he was connected to this
oh yeah. I know
you seen that movie?
I can't think of the name of it. No, he found out or he was a machine. He knew he was a machine. He was manipulating.
He was a machine.
But he was manipulating.
So it was a
the other
person,
boy.
right? That was a human.
Yeah.
And to taking his tracking device out.
Yeah.
So that he can go, and then he went and tried to set this nuke off in Russia to shoot it towards America. You remember that?
Right. Yeah.
And the thing in that movie was just that number one, he was intelligent enough to know he was being tracked. He knew that he wasn't a full human, full soldier. And he also knew that he was able to figure out why he was fighting in this war. And he realized who started it and why it was going on. So we talk about transhumanism. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be, like I said, another class of not beings, but specimens that are going to be set above average humans, your new governors, because these people don't want to have to rely on other humans to do some of the despicable and hateful things that are going to take place. There's no human that's going to, I wouldn't say there's no human that would do this, but there's nobody that's going to have the lack of remorse towards another human, like a being that doesn't have a conscience,
right?
That will only do what is told. You get what I'm saying? So you have to strip away consciousness. You have to strip away the things that are connected to God, because the things that God put in us are things that he put in us for preservation of our existence. Love, compassion, all of those things are for our preservation. We can't just live in a world and not have those things. We wouldn't last long. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we have wars and things of that nature, but human beings have survived and thrived throughout the craziest of times, but this right here is going to be it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
super super beings or superhuman soldiers and all of that stuff. Exactly. It's in that movie. That movie showed that there were actual robots and superhumans fighting in a war against each other. It was certain countries fighting against each other, and there were humans fighting alongside of those beings. You know what I'm saying? And people probably don't remember that. You know what I'm saying? But that movie
Right.
was very, very interesting.
It made me think about in Ezra. I want to say, I don't know. I'm gonna have to find it, man. But in Second Ezra's, I think it's Second Ezra. It might be first, but it talks about when this war has happened. I believe it's Second Ezra 7 or Second Ezra 13. But when the war happens, right? When Armageddon happens, and it talks about how the world army is going to be coming together, right? To fight against Christ, and the people are going to be afraid, and they're not going to want to do it, but they're going to do it anyway. It's almost like they're
Right.
going against their own will. They have no choice.
Right.
It makes me think, is this, these people who receive this mark, and they, what I'm saying, even though they don't want to do it, they can't not do it. They can't stop themselves. They're not necessarily in control.
Right.
So, yeah, it's interesting, man. It's very interesting.
It's
Uh,
scary, man. But
all right,
this.
can I get 3 more minutes of your time?
Oh yeah.
3
We
more
can get
minutes.
3 minutes.
All right, so I'm gonna switch. I'm switching videos, right? So now I'm about to show you a clip of the guy named Dr. Carl Sanders. Now, Dr. Carl Sanders is the inventor, or the head scientist in this team of scientists that invented the RFID Verichip. And he talks
Oh
about
yeah.
how, I believe it was the CIA, maybe the FBI, how they came to them originally asking him to create this chip that worked this way, and it was for a different purpose. They told him it was for something else, and they gave him a lot of
Right.
money, funded them, and so when they started doing it, it started off, they were under the impression of one thing, then it morphed into something else. However, at the time, he said he was a complete atheist. He didn't have any relationship with Christ, didn't believe in none of that anyway. So it didn't really bother him either way. But once he realized that now he spoke out against it, and explained, his role and what he understood according to Revelation after he had completed this task and found out what the government was actually doing with this thing, right? So, now, so taking what we just heard about where we are today in 2025, right? In the video that we watched before, this video probably was from 2024, 2023, I'm not sure.
Right.
But this video we're watching now goes all the way back, right, probably to the early 90s, right?
I think I remember this video because I think they told him not to read the Bible or something like that while he was in the process of making it.
Oh, I don't remember. That's very interesting.
I think they told him not to read Revelation. If it's the same video, he gonna say it in there.
Well, I don't know, because I'm skipping around, so I don't know if it's gonna be the part you're referring to. But
okay,
let me know when you can see this.
Yeah.
All right, check this out.
He's coming soon. I praise God.
I can see it.
Last night, I talked about my involvement in the development of
Can
a
you hear
little microchip
Uh-huh.
implant. And many people have already taken that microchip implant. The news media has talked about it being a good thing. And they will tell you that it's a good thing to have this. Your children won't ever get lost again. They won't be able to give you the wrong medication. They won't be able to, you won't be able to lose this thing. And so the plan is underway that you will receive it. I would be remiss if I came to you and didn't tell you that God's word says, don't you take it. No matter how nice they make it sound. Tonight in the science of technology, I'm going to be showing you some things. I want you to understand that there is a conditioning that is done in people.
Fair use.
The television, I call it a Babylonian idiot box. On the television, you are being conditioned to accept certain things. There is one good thing on television. It is the off knob. Yes. Amen. Spend as much time in God's word as you do watching the Babylonian idiot box. And God will speak to you through his word. And so you are being very easily conditioned. I've been in 17 One World meetings. I was in Luxembourg with Henry Kissinger, George Shultz, and Bob Gates in a meeting. It was discussed there about the microchip. I was asked many questions, and I answered those questions. I've also asked God to forgive me for being in those meetings.
And just real quick, why you keep saying that dude talking and saying stuff, because he's translating. And so this video has been edited out the translation, so we don't have to wait for that part. That's why you keep hearing him do
Right.
And I don't want people to get distracted by it. The other guy's translating in a different language form. So this video is editing out the translation.
They said, we'll make them aware of lost children. And so, after that meeting, on paper bags and milk cartons all over the United States, there were pictures of lost children. And then one day, all of those pictures disappeared. They aren't on the paper bags and milk cartons anymore, because you had been conditioned. And now when you look at a paper bag or a milk carton, you think about lost children. We think like we are told to think. That's the reason why you have to have your mind renewed in Jesus Christ. This has to be in here. He has to give you the new mind. He said, take heed that no man deceive you. That's the reason why he said it. Today's technology is the key to the long-standing mysteries of Bible prophecy concerning the last days. It reaches out to us. This technology that we have today is addressed to this generation. What it's telling us is that the time is short. I want to show you the microchip. This is called a Destron IDI chip. This is about the size of a grain of rice. It has a little receiving antenna and a transmitting antenna. It has a microchip in the glass envelope. So this gives you a little look. We'll look at some more a little bit later. One of the things that we see, fiber optics. You see the orange bundles being put all around under the ground in most of the areas that we live in. The fiber optics allow fast transmissions of from our phone lines, but also it will open up our homes to the two-way communication for video communication, being able to see one another when we speak. Every time that you talk on the telephone, they are monitoring your phone conversation. Microchips are used to keep track of animals on military bases. Microchips also they talk about why carry cards when an implant will do the trick. This was in Computing Magazine. You can lose a credit card, it can be stolen, but you cannot lose your hand. And so the advantages to a microchip in the hand are very good for the world. So we see there is a conditioning, a telling people that it is proper to have something on your hand. This was in one of the magazines. Revealed a secret plan to tag every man, woman, and child. I'm not happy over what is happening, but I praise God that I can tell you and the next group and the next group, because time is running out. Everybody's trying to figure out.
All right, it's a lot more, but I know I know you gotta get wrap up. So yeah, man, he talks about how they figured out. This is a guy who figured out that the best place to put this chip is in the back of the hand or in the forehead. Right?
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
Guy. Yeah, he's
because he said it's perpetually warm or something like that.
Well, because it has the greatest, it's most sensitive to temperature change.
Temperature changes,
It's the most sensitive to temperature change because that's how the chip is going to charge. It basically uses the energy from the temperature
body heat.
Yeah, to charge up this little chip, you know. And he talked about how and it uses lithium, right? And this is back then. Now, the technology may have evolved since then, but at the time it used lithium. So he asked the guy, what would happen if that chip was to erupt underneath the skin?
Yeah.
Lithium. He said the guy told him that then a person would develop a grievous sore. And when you
Like
read
in a Revelation,
it talks about the people who receive this mark will have these sores, will have a sore. It didn't say sores, I think plural. I think it says sore singular, I think.
yeah.
But it talked, you have this sore, and it wouldn't. It's saying with lithium, it would just it was a sore that wouldn't heal. They would get these boils and these sores that would not heal. Like he said, and the guy said, he said that the guy who asked about it said use the term grievous. They would have a grievous sore, and so it was, and and the first video we watched, that guy refers back to Dr. Carl Sanders. So that what made me go look this guy and this speech. And I'm sure we talked about this years and years.
Yeah,
and years.
we came across his video, a short clip of it, because I remember when you mentioned that head, I remember he mentioned like it's this part on your head, like right where your hairline is,
right
like
around
that's
the hairline,
sensitive
to
yeah.
change.
We came across him probably when we started GFN and we was watching certain clips, because I remember if you watch the whole video back, he's gonna mention specifically that they told him not to read the Bible when they asked him to create it.
That this is the
said, don't read Revelation, don't do something like that.
Revelation chapters 13 and 14.
And so I know he talks about how when
is it him? Song has taken
I don't know. He talked about this Christian church who told him not to read Revelation because they were scared of it and they didn't understand it. But after after so many years of being a Christian, he finally read it. But I don't remember. But
yeah, he said the people that was telling him to develop it did it.
A testimony of where I live from the government. They were from the CIA and the FBI.
I'm gonna find a clip and send it to you. Yeah, go right.
Hold on. Here, I found the part I was talking about.
Much of our research data had been publicized, and some men came to us that we were to find out from the government. They were from the CIA and the FBI. Were from the government. And much of our research data had been publicized.
Let me go back.
And as time went along, it looked like they were going to close our project down. We had learned many things, but she was not doing well. Much of our research data had been publicized, and some men came to us that we were to find out were from the government. They were from the CIA and the FBI. And they asked us to develop a little microchip for identification. This was to be used not in human beings, not in animals, but to be put in drug shipments to catch drug dealers. They came with a lot of money, and so we were willing to do whatever we could. I want to tell you at this point that I was not a Christian, and I did not want anything to do with Christians. We had developed the first identification device, and it was completed in the early 70s. They came back to us and they said, we want something better than that. And so we said, if you have enough money, we can develop anything. I was not alone there. There were 100 people involved in the project. Some were from General Electric, some from Motorola, some were from the Bell Laboratory, some were from the Boston Medical Center, and some were from Stanford University. My responsibility was project leader or the senior project engineer. We began to work on the design of a microchip that, when it was completed, was 0.75 millimeters in diameter, 7 millimeters long. It was the size of 1/4 of a grain of rice. Again, I want to say that I was not a Christian and there were no Christians there. They said they wanted this to have a power source and be able to emit a signal. And they told us they wanted us to use lithium as a battery source. Lithium's used in watch batteries, it's used in heart pacemaker batteries, it's used in a lot of places. I designed into this microchip a little charging circuit that would charge that battery. This sounds like a lot of technical things coming together, but if you'll bear with me 1 minute, you'll see what God has laid out about this microchip. When we discovered that we needed to be able to charge that battery, I needed a temperature change a change in temperature to cause current to flow through that little charging circuit that would charge the battery. So we began to investigate and find out where in the body does the temperature change the most rapidly. We spent over $1 million in taxpayer money, and when the results came back, there were the information, there was a lot of information. We divided it up amongst 3 teams and then came back together with that information. It was determined that there were 2 places in the body that were ideal for the microchip. One was just below the hairline on the forehead. Every mother checks their child's temperature right here. So we could have paid the mothers $1 million and saved. I never saw a mother check their child's temperature on their ankle. Always right here. The other place was the hand, the right hand preferred, because most people are right-handed. This didn't bother me, and it didn't bother anybody else on the team. The hand seemed a good place. Nobody wanted it here. And so the design work, everything was completed. The microchip was done. You're seeing it now on some of the Discovery Channel presentations. There are people who have received it already. It is real. It's not something that's coming way down the road. They gave me a Bible. They told me not to read the book of Revelation. They said the book of Revelation is too hard to understand. So I waited, and I didn't read the book of Revelation for quite some time. Then one day I
So
came
who he
to
said
Revelation
gave him that Bible?
13,
I think he was talking
verse
about
16.
when he became a Christian.
And he caused us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. I didn't like what I saw. I went back and looked up the word mark. I went to the Strong's Concordance, and I found that John had used 3 words for the word mark. Charagma, charicature, and charax. That was from the Greek. I looked at those words. They talked about a scratch or an etching. They talked about a lot of things. And I said, God, this isn't it. We didn't do it. He said, go to the word for 666. The word is chixastigma. In the Greek, it says to go to 4742 as a cross. The last half of the word chixastigma. And when I looked at what it says stizo, i.e. to stick, to prick, a mark incised or punched into for recognition of ownership. I thought about the little injection tool. The end of it is called an incisor. I began to weep and I began to cry, and I said, oh God, what have we done? I couldn't believe that this lined up with what we had developed. And I began to run from God. I didn't run away from the church, I ran into the church. I tried to do as many things as I could to atone for this. But I want to tell you something, as God is my witness here tonight, this got in the way. Money got in the way. I had beautiful homes overlooking the lake. I had all the things that I wanted. And I ran because of the money. My ability to go and get $250,000 in research money took me away from telling the message. I ran for many years. What I want to tell you is that this is real. The microchip implant is real.
Yeah, so I know you said you got to get up out of here, man. So, but yeah, I found that part. That's that was, yeah, So I'm like, I gotta go back and revisit all this, man.
Yeah, I remember this video. I'm glad you brought it back up because I remember coming across it years ago, and I just thought it was interesting that he was one of the people that helped develop that. And the clip I saw was much shorter. It kind of like just mashed some parts together, but it talked about them paying that $1 million to find out where the temperature change would take place. And it just so happened to be in the 2 places that the Bible highlights. And this is a thing that I think people are getting away from. It's 3 things. I think that people are getting away from how profound what he's saying is. They paid $1 million to find something out that if they would have, somebody would have warned them, like, bro, what y'all are doing, y'all are fulfilling a prophecy. You get what I'm saying? And it's
Right.
gonna be placed in the head or right hand, or you know what I'm saying?
So
Then
yeah, something interesting about that, because you see a lot of these when you watch on YouTube, when you see a lot of these videos of people getting this chip, it always look like it's in the left hand. But
right,
a couple things to take in mind. One, that when you watch a lot of videos on YouTube, it's a mirror
it's
image.
mirror, yeah,
So
mirror
sometimes
image,
when it looks like the left, it's really the right hand. Another thing, what he said was, he said we chose the right hand because that's most people are right-handed.
right-handed.
So I think predominantly it's going to be in the right hand, but it might be a
Some people
situation where
might have
it's
left,
in your
the
dominant hand,
dominant hand.
which is
Yep,
majority right hand. It's the dominant hand for most people.
right,
Then for some people it might be in their left hand. Doesn't mean it's not going to be the mark. It's just I think it's going to be put in their dominant hand.
right.
Yeah.
And the another thing he stated that was profound is just that we were talking about it earlier. I'm glad you led up to this point because we were talking about uh being blessed with things and giving things. And he said a lot of what led him to do what he did and him running away from God and all of that was the money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Money came in and they were able to pay him enough to do something that's going to affect billions of people in the future. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You got to think about it. These people can't do, they have to find somebody. And this is a scary thing. I want to say this, and I'm glad we ended on this. And I want y'all to think about this, right? The devil has to get people on his team that are blessed with talents that God gave them.
Amen.
You get what I'm saying?
God give gifts without
So,
repentance.
right.
So
He
God can bless you with something and you can use it for evil. It's
right.
you have free will.
Right. So this man, they had to go find a man that was blessed with an intelligence and a gift that God gave him and give him something to use it for something bad. You know what I'm saying? So you can take a talented person, they can sing, they can dance, they can do whatever. They're mathematically genius and they can do all these different things. But then the adversary has to say, look, man, I'll give you this. I'll give you everything here, like he tried to do with Christ. I'll give you everything here if you fall down, worship me. If you will do this for me. So there are people that God put here for certain reasons. And the adversary's intention is to corrupt them. So this man they were able to receive large amounts of money. He didn't say how much it was, but it was enough money for 100 people to split it up and
Oh
agree to
yeah.
do
Yeah,
something.
government. Yeah. I
So
mean, mind you, because if you think they knew what the end goal was. So
right,
there's no amount of money that they're not going to spend on that. Because
right,
these people, they serve they serve a demon, they serve a devil.
right.
And so money is no object. That's just
Right. I'm
a
gonna give you
tool of
some paper. It's
manipulation.
paper.
Yeah,
It's paper. And end of the day, we control the value of it in
they
the
want power
future.
and
Right.
control.
You can't lead this world with this thing we
Right.
about to give you anyway. It's a temporary, it's gonna help you in a temporary. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can enjoy it now, but what we about to do is gonna lead to eternal damnation. You know what I'm saying? We about to do to this. Yeah.
Just
So
another little side note too. I don't know if you mentioned if you heard him mention Bob Gates, and I heard Bob say he's talking about Bill Gates, but he's not talking about Bill
now
Gates.
his daddy.
No, I thought that was his dad too, but I don't think it's his dad either.
Who is it?
It don't show. I tried to find a connection between Bill Gates and Bob Gates,
Mm-hmm.
but I
I
don't.
thought
I
I
didn't
saw a
find it.
video saying his dad name was Bob.
I thought.
I gotta find.
When I looked it up, his dad was something else. What is it? Hold on, let me make sure because maybe it said William Gates because William is
Yeah,
Bob. But
William is Bob. Yep.
yeah, but I don't know if it said his dad. Can you look it up right quick on your
Let me
Hold
see.
on, let me see.
I
All right,
think I
look it up.
had a
Because
video.
but Robert Gates, Bob Gates, no, Robert Gates. Robert is Bob. They
Right.
his name is Robert Gates. He was the director of the CIA at one point. So when he said he was in meetings, he
Yeah.
said he was in several world meetings with Bob Gates and a couple other people. This
Yeah.
guy,
think he said
he was
Henry Kissinger and stuff like that.
yeah,
Six,
yeah, he was
17 meetings. Yeah.
yeah, he was a director of the CIA at one point. So
Right.
just just a little tidbit information when he's talking about this stuff. But yeah, man, it's this stuff, I'm seeing things like this, man, and I'm looking at what's going on in the world, and I'm saying, man, it's a lot of distractions. You know what I'm saying? Even with my situation I went through, you know what I'm saying, with my livelihood and everything, and I'm like, okay, I'm a drawing board trying to figure out my next move, this and everything. I'm saying, in the back of my mind, I'm saying, okay, I can't let all this stuff going on distract me from my relationship with the Most High, continuing to be a watchman, continue to blow the horn, and just not get caught up in the wows and the concerns of the world. Right. So, I had
That's true, man.
I had to force myself not to neglect my time with the Most High, which I'm doing a horrible job at, in my opinion. But I keep this in my mind though. I'm still working towards this, trying to make sure I'm spending time with the Most High, and then not allowing my finances, my family situation, my worries, distract me. Because at the end of the day, Christ says, the Most High knows what we need. If He take care of the birds and He dressed the flowers, then He'll take care of us. Take no heed. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about what. So at the end, I had to tell myself, at the end of the day, the Most High gonna make a way. I'm not, what I'm saying. So I'm not gonna put too much time and effort into tomorrow. What I'm gonna do for this? What I'm gonna do for income? What I'm gonna do I'm trusting in the Most High. At the end of the day, the Most High make a way. Most High make a way. So I gotta stay diligent and stay intentional and stay focused on the mission, which is to preach the gospel, which is to warn the people, which is to blow the horn, and pursue relationship with God.
That's real, man.
So
I want to say,
I just want other people to be encouraged and be reminded, be strengthened, be uplifted in the Most High in Christ, and continue to put God first, continue to seek God first, continue to pursue the Most High, and He'll take care of your other issues. What other issues that you think? Because it's nothing for Him. It's nothing for Him to take care of His people.
That's true, man. And it's nothing new under the sun, and personally, I haven't spoken publicly about like my stuff, the things I've been going on in my life, but like I can attest to it, man.
You going
personal stuff, personal adversity. Like I lost my mom a couple years ago. My father's currently sick. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when my mom did pass away, it was a rough time for me because, that happened. Then I segue into like similar situations. You talking about livelihood. I was already doing things to set myself financially to be free, to be able to do more things like what we doing right now, things of that nature. But in a way, I kind of got forced into it. And like when you're going through things like that, your mindset, like as a human or a man, woman, creation of the Most High, it changes. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not careful, it could definitely derail you. And that's not to say you might fall all the way off. Some people do fall all the way off. Like I remember in the same time where I was in the thick of everything I was going through, somebody else had went through the same thing, same time period, turned to drugs, turned to alcohol, went all the way off. And I've never been a person that been on drugs, anything like that. And I pray I never get to that point. And I'll never say nobody could never get there, because you just never know what would happen. Like stuff happens to people. You don't want to speak that stuff out loud and bring it upon yourself. But what I will say was, man, one of the things why the scriptures is so powerful is because we have a situation. One of the things we have to understand is there's nothing new that we're going to experience that nobody else hasn't experienced. So when we would talk about Job earlier, like Job was wealthy, lost it all, animals, land. Then we talk about personal relationships, lost his children. Like, and when I was going through what I was going through and still going through right now, one of the things that in a way keeps me grounded. And some days it's not easy. I'm not saying that you're going to 100% be at your best every day, but one of the things that you have to consider is that, like this man lost all his children. You know what I'm saying? All of them died at one time. You know what I'm saying? On top of you losing your wealth, on top of you losing everything else. So, you know what I'm saying? You got something to hold on to, right? Losing your health too, lost his health. So it's kind of like, bro, one thing that us people have to realize on a day-to-day basis, going back to Matthew, and this is why Matthew is so powerful, is because he said, you know, um, don't worry about what you're gonna wear. Don't worry about what you're gonna eat.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what you're gonna drink. Just do what it is that I need of you to do, and everything else can be handled. And that kind of gave me the understanding of we can't have too much attachment to things in this world. And I know that sounds crazy because we talk about life, we talk about property, things that you work your whole life for, relationships that you were born into, not that you created with family members, children that you might have, you know what I'm saying? That you worked your whole life to get married, then to have children and build a legacy, and then for something to happen where you might lose a child, lose all your children, or lose a parent or whatever, it those things can be used against you in the grand scheme of things if you can't really find it within yourself to understand that everything in this world is temporary.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a situation whereby, yeah, you kind of have to keep that in perspective. And that's not something that's easy to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that you're just gonna be like, okay, this is what it is. It's not. You're gonna go through your phases, you're gonna feel what you feel, you're gonna struggle. But when you get to the end of the road, whatever it is you're doing, if you sit back and reflect enough and you pray and you think about it, there's always a lesson in it. And the one thing that I've picked up over the past 3 years is just that things are going to happen for everybody. Everybody's going to go through a season of something. You know what I'm saying? We all go through it at different times. And one thing that I realized is just that you have to still pick up your cross and pick yourself up and just keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can't pick yourself up when you fall down, then everything else that's ahead that might be more challenging that you can forget it. You can't get past this point. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
So
I talked to a brother today about, we talk about loss, in family, like you said, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. But and and that inspired me to talk to my children, so I got 11, 8, 6, and 3 now today. Matter of fact, my turned 3 years old today. And what I'm not talking to 3-year-old, of course, but this is like maybe 2 weeks ago somebody had this conversation. But I was saying, understanding that life, because a lot of time death, has a profound impact on us, and we go through that. We go through depression. We get to the point where we're always questioning God, why, which that's fair. It's fair to understandable for a person to get to that point. However, what I explain to my children is that life comes from God. It's His to give, it's His to take.
Right.
And I told my children, I said, it's like if I give you my phone and I tell you can use it. You know what I'm saying? It's yours. As long as you have it, it's yours. But when I come to get my phone, I need my phone. And when I come to get my phone, it don't matter what you're doing on the phone, what game, what app, what purpose you're using it for. It's mine. It's mine. You got to give it up. And it's nothing you can say. It's nothing. Even if it may come at the most inconvenient time. It's my phone. I need my phone. And so in the life, it's God gave us that life.
Right.
Gave it to you. And at any moment He come to get it.
Right.
It's His. And you got to understand it, so you don't take it personally. So you should know the truth, and truth shall make you free. So really understanding the reality and the proper context of life, and that it belongs to God. And then what's even more weighty or profound in that situation is that when He comes to get that life, and this is how I explain to my children, he gonna come get these lives. He gonna look at it. This life dirty. It's like, ain't no good. I'm gonna throw that one away. Oh, look at this life. Oh, nope, no good. Oh, this one filthy. This one filthy. Oh man. And then every now and then he'll find one that's good enough, clean enough. Say, okay, yeah, I'll keep this one. This one stay with me. And so when He comes to get your life that He gave you, He's gonna examine that life. And is it
right?
This the only thing you're gonna have to offer up to the Most High is the life that He gave you. I gave you this life. I'm coming to get it back. And then this is your offering. And will He accept it? Is it acceptable?
Right.
And the only thing that's gonna make it acceptable is Christ, whom the world calls Jesus the Christ, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that's gonna make it acceptable. But at the end of the day, that it's his life. He gave it to you. At some point, he's gonna come get it back. And then, is it acceptable to him? Will
Right.
he keep it or will he toss it? And that's
That's
really
real.
that's really what it comes down to in a nutshell. So no matter what you're going
Yeah.
through, no matter what's happening in the world, you have a life that God gave you that you're gonna have to that you got to return. That's gonna be returned. And will it be
Right.
acceptable to him? So with that in mind, whatever happens, like you talk about getting up and pressing toward the mark, remembering I got to give this life back to Christ because yeah, it sucks when your loved ones pass, but that
Right.
life that you love, that person that you love, that was given to you by God. That relationship you had, that you
Right.
thank God that He allowed you to experience that love and
Mm-hmm.
these different experiences that you have with this person over the amount of time you had. But God gave that, and it's His to call and take back when He's ready. And
Right.
then you got to go see that man. You have a life that he's gonna come get one day. So while we're
Right.
mourning and reminiscing and questioning why this person is gone, why they were taken, why it happened to them like this, why it wasn't their life was like that, why all these questions.
Right.
One day he gonna come get you.
Right.
So yeah, it's okay to mourn all this thing, but you have a life, and nobody's gonna be able to stand in your place. You can't stand in nobody else's place, and they can't stand in your place. So when they came to Christ and they said, "Hey man, your mama and your brother over there, they want to holler at you." He said, "Who is my mother and who is my brother? Them that do the will of my Father." Why? Because this is going to be
Mm-hmm.
the family. When you're in the kingdom of heaven, this is the family this is the only family that you're going to have that's going to be for eternity.
Right.
And if you don't make it to
You,
that heavenly family, it don't matter.
man, that's real. I want to say this last thing, man, because you said something that this is something I learned when I lost my mom, and this, I'm at a point now, like dealing with the situation with my pops, where like it's not, it's a tough situation, but I learned something the first time. So, and this goes back to the scripture as well. Um, First of all, I want to say what you're doing with your children is powerful because I feel like today we talk about inheritance. You hear inheritance, you think about money or land or something being passed down to a child. But something that we've gotten away from, inheritance is more than just land and money. Inheritance is morals, it's values, it's principles, it's the belief system that you had and your forefathers had. When you have a child, one of the things you have to do is prepare them for your absence when you are not going to be there anymore.
Yeah.
That's part of an inheritance. Inheritance, passing down skills that a child can use for survival when you're no longer there. You know what I'm saying? Our forefathers used to hunt, they used to fish, they used to grow crops, they used to do all of those things. So when they died, their children knew how to sustain life without them. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that's taking place today is our children aren't being blessed with that. And those conversations that you talk about, they're not getting them anymore. So, the scriptures, it's different on how we deal with our children because today, we educating the children. We're teaching children, but the scriptures say you have to train a child. And when you think about training, when you go to the army, you got to get trained. When you go becoming a police officer, you got to get trained. Or anything that has to do with sustaining life and doing something, it's training. And life is not something that's just to be lived. It's full of experiences. It's going to be adversity. It's going to be prosperity. You have to be able to teach your children, okay, when you get to this point, this low, this is what you need to do. When you get up here, don't forget about God. This is what you need to do. All of those things in the midst of everything. So when they get to the end, get to the finish line, it's like they had all the tools they needed to get there. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that I realized, like, and going through a big loss and the emptiness I felt, it was like, and this verse just popped in my head when you were saying what you were saying. It's like the loss is gonna hurt more when the void that because you're gonna have a void when you lose a person. Whatever relationship you had, that person, there's gonna be a loss regardless, right? It's your mom, your dad, your son,
Right.
whoever. If your connection with God, so when you lose that person, The one thing that's supposed to fill that void is your connection with the Most High. If the relationship that you have with that person is not, it's stronger than the connection you have with the Most High, then it's gonna cause that loss. It's gonna cause you to turn away from the Most High and do things that might not have, things that He wouldn't want to do. It's gonna cause you to question Him. Not to say that you can't love the Most High and lose a person and then go off. I'm saying, like, if you're deeply grounded, like all the way there, then when that person it leaves, the comfort and everything else that the Most High gives us back when we lose something, it comes. So when I went through my loss, of course I went through the process of feeling what I felt and allowing myself to go through it. And leading up to it, I was already praying like this is inevitable. The lifestyle that my parent lived, that contributed to, whatever happened. And we got to think about it. Our choices can also dictate how long we live, because the Most High gives us a body to dwell in, our spirits, and for His Holy Spirit to dwell in. So if we're not putting the things in there, living a lifestyle, a certain way, that we have the power ourselves to cut things short. So that's something we have to accept. And I accepted that. And I said, you know what? I'm allowing myself to go through all of those emotions and all those feelings. So when I felt that void, I'm like, why am I feeling this way? But that void is there to be filled by the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So when you go through those losses, that's that time where you have to like get closer to Him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that attachment needs to be with Him. It's a reminder that you need to be attached to Him at all times, because when things get bad, that's the only attachment that's going to get you out of anything.
Amen.
If there's no attachment, you know what I'm saying, then you're just going to be left to whatever is there.
Something
You know
gonna
what I'm
fill
saying?
that void. Something gonna fill that void.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I'm saying?
You
That's
wanna
what I'm
invite
saying.
Christ in,
Something gonna fill it.
or let
Some
something
people
else
gonna
come in
use
there.
drugs. Some people gonna use alcohol. Some people gonna use other things. And I'm not saying, and this for the people out there that have gone through losses, because we all go through them. I'm not trying to say that you're less of a person if you did go through a phase in which you feel something with something, because that we're all human. Sometimes things happen. But I'm saying at the end of the day, for you to get back up on your feet and keep pushing forward, there's only one thing that's gonna fill that void. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And it is what it is. And
yes,
that's
sir.
something I learned.
Right on, man. So I appreciate you, coming on, man, giving time and participating in this whole conversation. And for those of you who may be new to the channel, who haven't, I haven't posted in a while. Like you said, I think a lot of people been going through a lot of things this time of year. I don't know what it is, but this something's going on with 2025
Rough, man.
going into it. And I use 2025 loosely, understanding that a new year is not in the middle of winter, but a new year starts in the spring. Like, doth not nature teach us some things, right? However, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Check out all the other videos. Share the videos, like the videos, comment. Read the comments. I do respond. You know what I'm saying? Send us an email. All the links and everything are in the it'll be in the description as well as on the homepage. I don't know. I think that's it. This has been another episode of the We Big Podcast, aka the We Believe in God Cast. And if you do rock with us, share it, help us build this community, get that out there, and we appreciate the views. And we will see you guys next time. Peace and blessings.